Hello and welcome to part 2 of a very special episode of Funbearable. I am Brad Rohr.
I'm Chuck Staten.
I'm Ray Harrington. Why? I have to be here. Why did you come back
That's a great question.
for a second part of this?
We are doing-
it's only going to get worse from here.
We are doing a franchise flashback in which we look at all the films in the Halloween franchise and describe them to Ray, who has only seen one of them. So the next 6 films we talk about,
Jesus Christ.
unfamiliar to Ray and
We are just
bizarre.
Like, Hollywood is creatively bankrupt, and I knew that already. But when you find out, really, there's 12 Halloween movies
the 13th on the way.
that are just sort of
We'll talk
plays
about
on
this.
the one original
We'll
Yes.
talk about this.
Halloween movie.
And
Let's just say big thanks to Best Video.
Thank you to
Hamden,
Best
Connecticut.
Video.
We're in
sincerely.
Hamden, Connecticut right
Yeah.
now. That's why we have this beautiful backdrop and this awesome atmosphere for this.
Yeah, it's
Love
fantastic.
it. Very happy to be here. Even
And
though
I can
Ray doesn't get the Halloween movies yet. Brad doesn't really get them either. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through to them.
Yeah, because you have to
I'm
be
doing
an
my
idiot
best.
to be like, these are good. And so we don't get it.
no.
They
But I
don't.
want to say about Best Video, you can only see a little bit of this. I promise you, this whole place is wonderful.
Yes.
Like coming in here was just immediately like, oh, I want to go down every aisle
Yeah.
and I want to see all the movies.
Yes,
and it's,
for sure.
I miss this kind of thing. Like seeing all the movies on the shelf
Mm-hmm.
genuinely made me want to watch a bunch of those movies.
I completely
Where
agree.
if I was scrolling through a feed
Not
or
as
a
much.
queue,
Yeah.
I'd be like, meh. But there is something about it. So
Of
yeah,
course, of course.
it's really wonderful.
Of course.
Of course.
Now,
Of course.
diving back into the Halloween movies.
Or we could just talk about Best Video if you want.
So we basically did what I would call the Halloween Prime timeline. And the reason I call it that is because,
Prime is there's a space.
yeah, right.
It's not hyphenated.
Because it is the original story. They, for better or for worse, they were trying to make sequels that went in an order that had a continuity.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was Halloween 1, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, 5, and 6, and those all go together. Obviously, with Halloween 3 having been on its own continuity.
Right.
Now,
I can't. I am just learning tonight that Halloween has different timelines.
Okay, all right.
Right.
For the story of crazy boy kills sister,
Babysitters.
and then grows up, escapes,
Yep.
kills babysitters.
Yep.
The end.
Okay, so right now we did Halloween 1 through 6, the Curse of Michael Myers, but now we are getting to Halloween H2O. 20 years later.
Now, in the timeline we talked about in the previous franchise flashback episode,
The Halloween Prime timeline.
Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode, had died in an off-camera car accident.
Right.
And then Michael Myers was terrorizing the rest of... Ray is transfixed by the cover art.
You know why? Because it's just so of an era.
Yes, it is.
I'm transfixed by all of these late '90s, early 2000s people.
Yes.
Let me give you a little bit of what I think is happening. Okay, here's what happened.
Like right now or in the movies?
in the world.
Right now or in the movies?
In the movies.
No, do the world start with Israel Palestine.
Yeah.
Israel's pal is Wait, what did you say?
Frankenstein.
So anyway, what I was going to say is there was a
It's
slasher.
sorry, but it's Palestine's monster.
Yes.
Wait, no, I can't do that joke.
Let's give a little bit of background that Ray may not know about this. Now, in the original Halloween movie, Jamie Lee Curtis was the star. Do you know who her mother was?
Her actual mother, like
in real life, the actress's mother.
Yes.
Who was it?
I don't remember her name, but I know she was an actress. And
I think it was Janet Leigh.
yes, Janet Leigh. You're
And
right.
who was she?
And so-
Janet Leigh.
Was the lead?
She was the scream queen from Hitchcock's Psycho.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right. Now, a bunch of the names from the original Halloween movie were names from the movie Psycho, including Loomis and stuff like that.
Hitchcock,
Right.
Alfred.
Yes.
The
Anyway,
birds.
so here's the thing.
Vertigo. Steve Vertigo.
Halloween in 1978 kind of kicked off, this is what I think, a little bit of a slasher craze. I'm sure there's other movies that contributed to it right then.
Yeah.
But a lot of these movies like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, all these movies, they had this huge, they were very, very popular. And what I think is really interesting is that they would influence each other. So Halloween might influence Friday the 13th, but then the success of Friday the 13th Part 3 might influence Halloween Part 4.
Right,
and they kept
right.
all kind of trying to rip each other off.
Right.
One of the Friday the 13th movies, famously, was basically the concept of Jason Voorhees versus Carrie. And so they just made a Carrie character in Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And so that happened a lot. But by the mid-90s, the slasher had kind of died, and it was resurrected by the movie Scream, written by Kevin Williamson, put out by Dimension. And what happened at that time was Dimension had the rights to Halloween, so a lot of horror movies that came out after Scream did so well were extremely influenced by Scream.
Right.
And you can tell by this cover,
Yep.
by the way that the text is, by the way the cover is, by the way that the actual movie feels. It's very influenced by Scream.
Yeah.
And another movie like that is Urban Legend, I Know What You Did Last Summer.
The Faculty.
The Faculty, which is also Josh Hartnett.
Which is I like that. I remember really liking The Faculty when I was young, when I was in high school.
And I honestly, I might hit him for the first time. This is good. You think this is worse than Halloween 6?
No, I don't. We're coming up on the worst of the franchise, and it's not this one.
Do you like this one?
No.
Do you like the part that I'm talking about?
Yes.
Ooh, all right.
Can I see it?
Yeah. LL Cool J's in this.
LL Cool J's in this one?
Yep.
I thought
I like Deep
Busta
Blue Sea.
Rhymes was in it.
That's
Next
Resurrection.
one.
There's another one
Yes.
that feels like this.
Yes.
Oh fuck.
Except way worse.
Oh, look at.
So it's the same cover. I mean, close. But yeah, so Lil Cool J's in it.
Yep. Michelle Williams.
Michelle Williams, that's right. And Josh Hartnett.
Yes.
Is that Josh Hartnett? Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt has a cup of coffee at the beginning of this film as
He
well.
does.
That's amazing. Josh Hartnett. What happened?
This might have been
Where'd he go?
his like first
Can I give
mainstream role.
Where did Josh go?
I want to give a little.
Josh, are you watching? Josh Hartnett?
Yeah, he's a fun bear.
What are you doing?
I'd
What
like
are you
to-
making movies?
we miss you.
I'd like to give a quick shout out to a podcast called Halloweenies, which is made by the people from Consequence of Sound. It's a really great podcast, and they started out by doing every Halloween movie as its own single podcast. They'd cover it, and they would talk about each Halloween movie for 2 to 3 hours. Each
Then
one,
why did we do this?
because they're
so-
not funny.
So that you would know what's
Well,
going on.
they're jovial.
Did you hear that, Halloweenies?
Immediately after your shout
Chuck
out.
Staten says you're not funny.
That's not what I meant.
He said you suck.
I meant what they're more concerned than being funny. They're more concerned with actual like the filming, the music, the score. It's more about the construction of the movies and how they are from a cinematography standpoint and the production
Okay.
standpoint. And
So they talked for
Halloween's-
3 hours about this movie.
I'm not kidding. I swear to God. And then the next year they did Nightmare on Elm Street. Then they did Friday the 13th. I don't know what order they went in, but they did all these different things. And they make a great podcast. I listen to all of them every year, like all year round. I just leave them on. And I got a ton of my facts from them. So if I'm wrong, it's definitely because I misremembered what they said.
Now, if LL Cool J, do you think LL Cool J?
Same character as Deep Blue Sea.
I was
yes.
just going to say that. Damn it. That was going to be my joke.
I know.
That was going to be my joke.
I'm always
Absolutely.
one step ahead, just like Michael Myers.
I don't know about that. Brad, you don't love this movie?
I did not.
Would you call it an instant classic?
No.
No, it took a little while.
Well, because WWOR TV called
Where?
it an
The
instant
Worm.
classic.
Where's that located?
Worcester.
Yeah, it's
All
I
right,
mean it's
Worcester,
it's somewhere
Mass.
east of the Mississippi.
Would you say it's a sensational, smart, and nonstop scary?
No.
yes, it is.
Because that's what UPN TV said.
All right, I know what that is.
Yeah, the UPN died at the hands of Michael Myers.
That makes sense.
So, this movie is Halloween H2O 20 years later. Now, let me set Ray up.
And we're starting the bidding at $14.
So,
$14.
Well, let me give you this.
For H2O.
So we've
it's
already-
also water, folks. It's also water. I am overtired.
Need it
We
Live.
already covered the Halloween primetime line.
Primetime.
We already covered.
TGIF.
We already covered the Halloween Dick Warlock timeline.
Yes, which is just Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Now
I'm so punchy right now.
we are entering the H2O timeline. This movie takes place after Halloween 2, but Halloween 3, 4, and 5, and 6 did not happen. So
What?
fucking forget about it.
Then why did you tell me for hours?
Just shut up about
Why
it.
did you tell me for hours? Can you tell already that this
By the way,
episode is going to be different?
It starts out with LL Cool J saying, forget about him. Stop it. He just
He
looks right into
punches
the
a
camera.
shark. Now, I will be honest with you. By the end of the last episode that we
Yeah.
did for this flashback,
Yeah.
I started to do in
Yeah.
my head.
Yes.
I glazed over.
Yes.
My focus drifted from Brad.
To me.
It shifted to behind Brad. I was looking at the DVDs behind you going, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to be watching that right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop.
Like just really
Stop
just
it.
taking it in and going,
Stop
what if
it.
I was watching the
we're
Prestige
making,
right
We're making
now?
Ooh,
some
The
high
Prestige is
quality,
good.
Rudy.
comedy, scary content for October, and we have a good time. I was getting sleepy, but I stole a Kit Kat. And also,
What if I was watching Sling Blade right now, which is sort of like if Michael Myers was nicer?
Ah, yeah.
Kinda.
so we ordered, hold on, ready? I called Odie's Pizza. Mm-hmm. I ordered us a mashed potato pizza, just like y'all want.
Extra scallions.
Disgusting.
I thought you'd like it.
You know what I like on a pizza? Mush. I love a good mush. Is it heavy in carbs? I
Teo
love
is on my side. Teo is an employee of Best Video. He's been very, very helpful.
it. He is very helpful, yeah.
And we got a mashed
Which
potato
is why
pizza.
I'm
on our
tipping
way.
the guy. I'm
Yeah.
giving him money.
Ray, I have a question. Where were you on October 29th, 1998?
October 29th, 1998.
Ray was only 32.
October 29th, 1988.
Bec-
I was a high school
Because
sophomore.
you know where Michael Myers was on that night?
I can remember. I have
Brad
exact
cannot wait to,
recollection.
to dive into this movie.
Exact recollection. I was 98. You said
Yes.
slowly pushing razors into fun-size Snicker bars.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, that makes sense.
Brad is so excited to get into this movie. You can't wait to do it.
We have a long drive home
Yeah, yeah.
after this is done.
That's true.
with bellies full of mashed potato pizza.
Yeah. Michael
Car's gonna
Myers
stink.
broke into Dr. Loomis's retirement home.
And this is after 2.
This is 20 years after the events
So
of Halloween
forget
1 and
about
2.
the other ones.
So okay, so not only is it taking place after Halloween 2, but also 20 years have gone by.
Yes, it's 1998. So Michael Myers wearing
So Loomis had a
Janko
happier
jeans.
life,
yeah.
but also survived the events of 2.
Yes. With the burns.
Is he still scarred?
Well, he's not there. His
Is he dead by this point? The actor?
He's dead. That's one of the things in
Yeah.
Halloween 6.
R.I.P. the actor who played
Donald Pleasance.
the truly insane Howard Loomis.
Samuel Lewis.
Samuel Lewis.
Samuel.
So when they did the reshoots for Halloween 6, because I told you about the producer's cut.
Yeah.
I kept saying the director's cut meant producers. Donald Pleasance had died.
Yeah.
So he wasn't part of the reshoots.
And I heard they got his brothers to come in and fill in a little bit, and they did some CGI work. And
Yeah,
and they
a lot of
finished up the-
CGI in 1995.
Ronald Pleasance.
And there was the end where Jamie Lee Curtis is going down the road, and then Michael Myers pulls up and looks at her, and they kind of nod to each other, and they keep going.
It's very
It's
sad.
been a long day.
That would be
without
cool.
you, my
I would
friend.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
We cried
Brad, this is one of Brad's favorites. He's gonna get into this thing.
Yeah. Before
the
we started recording, Brad was like, "Can I be honest with you guys? I know I'm supposed to play like the harshest critic of these movies, but I love Halloween."
I didn't
H2O."
say that. Don't say that. I said that.
He said if he could only have one H2O in the world, it would be Halloween H2O, and he would never drink water
I
again.
said, give me H2O2, and I will drink that.
How fun is it to lie about things Brad said?
I got to be honest with you. This is the first time I've tried it.
How does it feel?
This is the first time I've tried doing what is Chuck's like whole reason for existence
Yeah.
is to just lie about you or lie about me if there's a new person on
He
the
just
podcast.
lies.
Yeah, just
Love
lies
it.
about
I
us and
love to
puts us in
lie.
corners, and we're like, well, but now if I defend it, I sound like it's true.
Teo.
Yeah, you lied about fucking Teo, and you just met the guy.
He says it's delicious. He's like,
I didn't say that. I said it's from New Haven. That's what he said. And you're like, oh, that equals delicious. What are you, a Yale graduate? So I just tried lying for the first time. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun to be a fool. It is a good time.
Well, the nurse from Halloween 1, the one who was yanked out the car window, she's like taking care of Dr. Loomis's effects.
Same actress?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
She's taking. By the way, I will say this real quick about H2O. When it starts up, I think there's a pretty stark contrast in terms of quality.
Yeah.
Like the movie looks way better.
Yeah.
Like way, way better.
Like an actual effort and budget was applied to this film.
And this movie didn't come out a decade after the last one. It came out like probably like 3 years. Yeah. So it really feels like a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we learned that Dr. Loomis had a file on Laurie Strode, who is presumed dead in an automobile accident.
Presumed now.
She's missing. Michael murders the nurse, her teenage neighbor Jimmy, and his friend Tony, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and someone else.
When did he show up?
He had like a hockey stick, and he's like, "I'm not afraid of that house." And he like,
No, he's talking about Michael Myers, not Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, Michael Myers.
It kind of like opened
show up?
with Michael Myers like doing his
He's
thing.
just
There was
He's
no
just already
explanation
there.
because
There's no-
there is an explanation.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
Since the events of Halloween.
There is an explanation. Maybe Brad didn't have the eagle eye that I had.
Yeah, because I was too like, is that the guy from Third Rock from the Sun?
Is that the guy from Brick?
It was.
Yeah.
You know what? It was. It
Loopers?
was French Stewart. French
Yes,
Stewart and
French-
Michael.
I'm going to go in that house
Can I
and
do one?
check it
Can
out.
I do one?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm going to go in that house and I'm going to check it out. Yeah.
She scared me.
Oh, as soon as you talked, it fell apart.
Although
But you did a really good job. I was happy with it.
I don't remember his voice.
It looked like you had been sprayed with mace trying to blow out birthday candles.
That's
do
how
it
he-
again. Do it again. There it is.
he does do that.
No, I know.
he does.
Now, I wanted to say a second ago,
Yeah.
you said that this movie looks much, much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between the early 90s in movies
Right.
and
There
the
is.
late 90s in movies,
Yeah,
right?
93 to 99.
Huge difference. Yeah, different
99,
world.
you're getting Fight Club, Matrix, American...
Werewolf?
No, the one with
Beauty.
Kevin Spacey.
In
Beauty.
Paris.
Beauty.
Escape
Anyway,
From L.A.?
I think I know I give a lot of these movies thumbs middle. Maybe I'm being generous. Who's to say?
Thumbs McMiddle over here.
I'm to say that you
I'll
were
say
overly
this.
generous.
I don't know what my exact ranking is.
Yeah.
H2O is a good movie. I think it's a really good movie.
I disagree.
I don't know why you keep talking. Ray's going to be on my side by the end of this. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I have no doubt. Well, what you were saying, you were an eagle eye that you knew where Michael Myers came from.
Oh yeah.
Haddonfield
No,
Hill.
she says it in this.
Yeah.
Well, I'll when we get to the scene, I'll tell you what happened.
Wouldn't that be eagle-eared?
It's actually really good. No, I didn't hear. I saw it.
I had the captions on.
Laurie Strode has left Haddonfield, Illinois.
Yep, Ms. Strode.
Making a smart choice.
Absolutely,
The
hell yeah.
first one in the history of this series.
So far we have a good choice and a good opening scene, and you don't like this movie, and a great ending.
That's correct.
Aren't you supposed to be telling me about it, Chuck, instead of
Okay.
just defending it?
Okay, well I'll be telling you.
She has taken a job as the headmistress of a boarding school.
Oh,
It's
of a
not as
boarding
sexy
school.
as it
Okay,
sounds.
that her son, played by Josh Hartnett, attends.
Okay.
Right.
And she, like, Halloween is coming, and he's like, you're being so overprotective of me, Mom. Like, it's fine. I'm sorry you had trauma in your youth, but like, it's fine. I'm fine. I want to go on my class trip to Yosemite for the Halloween weekend.
And she's like,
Okay.
I'm too nervous about you being
She's
out
like,
of my
you
sight,
can't,
basically.
you can't go to Yosemite.
Well, so far, camping is safe.
Right.
In this world.
But she doesn't want to leave him alone. And so he's like, I'm going to talk to my girlfriend and our guy and girl, our other couple friend, and we're going to make plans to stay here and party.
Right. And I'll say
Okay.
this. I think that what they were trying to do with this movie is essentially say, let's do a softish reboot. And even though they are ignoring all the events of 4, 5, and 6 and everything, in 4, 5, and 6, they do say she died off screen in a car accident.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of this one, they say she faked her death in a car accident.
At least that has like a little bit of believability.
Yes, but the thing is, the character of Jamie, her daughter,
Yeah.
is obviously completely gone.
Yeah, that doesn't exist.
So, but they're saying, well, if you saw one of these movies a couple years ago,
Yeah.
we'll put this in and you'll go, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I remember something like
That's
that.
fair.
That's what it's for. The car accident thing, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a quick ad break, and I just wanted to let you know it is Halloweeny times.
Right.
And I think making this ad a little more Halloweeny would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And we should talk about something that will take your Halloweeny and turn it into a
And fill it
rigid
with pumpkin. Well, no, that doesn't
pumpkin
fill it with
blood.
pumpkin.
Pumpkin
just,
blood.
Just your blood, yeah.
It'll pump your kin. No, don't never pump your kin.
It'll pump blood
into
so
your
you can make kin.
weenie.
I hate
It's
it.
working. We're fine.
working.
It's good.
We're
It's
getting
good.
there.
We're going. We're going.
Blue Chew.
When you find your dick has less life in it than it used to, it's time to chew it. Blue Chew, that is. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers.
I got a good one. Sorry.
Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable tablet, all at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime and be ready whenever an opportunity arises.
Do you want to pump your boo full of kin? That was pretty good.
No.
We got in pumpkin and boo.
And kin.
Well, kin is part of pumpkin. I'm the first of the fun gang to sign up for Blue Chew,
Never signed off on Fun Gang.
and yet here we are. And it was so easy. I really didn't know how it was going to be. I mean, I understand people that are a little bit like, I don't want to talk to my doctor about this. That's a lot of people. I think most people.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm willing to talk to my doctor. I didn't know if I had to get a doctor's note. I didn't really know how it worked. But they actually had someone that works with them, talks to you on the phone for less than a minute. It's so quick. They just ask you some questions and they send you your Blue Chew. So easy, so convenient. Came right in. And man, it works super well, and it's funny because I'm not even someone that I'm like, oh, I need some help. But man, I'm like, it's like if imagine you're playing Mario and you're big Mario, you're like, I'm good, I'm doing good. But then you get the fire flower and you're like, I'm better. That's Blue Chew. Come on, Luigi.
Toad.
Yoshi. It just seems that some of us should take this ad seriously. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. Chew it and do it. We have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Funbearable at checkout. Just pay $5 for shipping. That's BlueChew.com, code Funbearable to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. Thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring the podcast. And also, I guess I was a mummy the whole time I was reading that. Is that spooky enough? We are coming back to the Franchise Flashback. We've taken a pizza break. There's some debate about the quality and
I said,
selection
let's take
of
a
pizzas.
pee break. And Chuck was like, yeah, I'll order it now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then 20 minutes later, a pizza was here.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, he thought I meant pee for pizza.
Yeah.
Tell them you liked the mashed potato pizza I ordered.
I liked the mashed potato pizza
That's
that
all
you
you have to say.
ordered. Yeah.
It was good. We all liked it. It was a good choice by me.
So Laurie Strode.
So uncomfortable. It's like, listen, I made a choice, and now you need to tell me multiple times that it was a good one.
Well, I said, let's order a mashed potato pizza. And you were like, you're insane. Like, why would you order this? And then you got it, and you had a great experience.
Do you think Michael Myers' sister in the first Halloween was like this? Where she's like, Michael, tell me I ordered a good pizza.
Yeah.
It's
So what you're saying
1978.
is,
It's Halloween.
Michael Myers was the hero.
Yeah. Justified. That's
Yeah.
what I would say.
I'm going to start stretching if you don't. No, never mind. That's
Please,
all right.
please don't threaten me because I won't tell you I'm appreciative enough of your
I
pizza.
do have to work this mashed potatoes through my system.
That sounds disgusting. I have to work these mashed potatoes through my system. Hold
So
on a second, I
Laurie
gotta
Strode.
Yeah, can we talk about Halloween?
H2O, 20 years later. Laurie Strode is in California. She's running a boarding school. As Chuck mentioned, it's not sexy. The kids are going to Yosemite, except Laurie Strode's son, Josh Hartnett, and his girlfriend, and then their couple friends. And they're like, we're going to have a party. We're going to get high. We're going to do things to each other.
This is
sex
safer
things.
than the park,
This is safer than going to
the
Yosemite.
national forest.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is what I like. Camping is crazy. You're outside, there's bugs. Laurie Strode is also dating like the school psychologist. Is it Adam Arkin? Is that his name? Or is it Alan Arkin?
Alan Arkin.
Alan Arkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who plays
Alan
it.
Alda.
Nope.
Hey, Lori, I'm worried
No.
about you. Your brother is he's a killer. He's on the loose.
Any chance? Well, he knew Laurie Strode as Carrie Tate. He didn't know she was
Gary,
actually
I'm
Laurie
worried
Strode.
about you.
Carrie.
Your brother is on the loose.
Combination of Carrie and Sharon Tate.
Where's your son, the slightly weaker looking Channing Tatum? What's his name? Harden it.
He doesn't look like Channing Tatum, does he?
I think Josh
maybe a
Hartnett.
little bit.
Josh Hartnett was kind of a Channing Tatum. back
Proto
then.
Tatum.
I think
Tatum.
Tatum is so lovable and happy.
Yeah.
And Hartnett always looked so pained.
Man, 30 Days a Night. It's great.
You ever feel
Uh-oh.
like he looks pained? Like
Chuck,
he's like this.
I didn't want to tell you this, but Josh Hartnett is behind this curtain, and he was going to come out. He's not going to come out anymore. He doesn't want to. What? Yeah, he's sad. He's
Oh,
upset.
he's pained?
Oh, hold on. He said mashed potato pizza is terrible. That is so weird.
Now I know you're lying.
No, he said it. Just ask Josh. Josh, do you want to come out?
It doesn't sound,
He said
doesn't
no.
sound like it. Yeah.
He said no.
Yeah, off mic. You can't hear him.
He said no.
So she finally confesses to her boyfriend, like, hey, I'm Laurie Strode. My brother tried to murder me
Yeah.
many years ago on Halloween. That's why I'm so overprotective
They're
of
making
myself.
out.
This is a lot to process.
They're making out, and the psychiatrist is like kissing her on her tits. And like, she's like,
That's not making out.
what do you mean?
I don't like you using that word.
Kiss?
Smooching.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she's like, so I'm keeping a secret from you. And he's like kissing her boobs. This is true though.
Right.
This is
All
an
right, you
accurate.
tell me your secret while I'm kissing your boobs.
She's like, my brother murdered my sister when I was an infant. And he's like, oh, that's
And
terrible.
he just goes, what? Yeah. Her nipples are very long.
It
I
was
love
a
that
very-
sound.
Yeah,
I love that
very
sound.
confusing.
Did you do a good one
Alan
like that?
No, I
Alda
can't.
popping a nipple out of his mouth. Just,
Dude, give
Now,
it a shot.
now LL Cool J is the security guard, and you know,
they
like
made him the security guard.
the kids.
Why
like,
can't he be a teacher?
the kids snuck off campus and they were like, come on, LL Cool J, let us go. And he's like, no, I can't. And they, convinced him.
Yep.
And then Laurie Strode caught her son in town, like trying to buy booze or get pot or whatever. And
he was trying to get his girlfriend a present.
yeah, they were also,
That's
Booze
different
or
than
pot.
pot and booze. It was either booze or pot. It was one of the two.
they were
You
trying
made
to
him so nefarious.
they were trying to get booze for their little party.
Well, that's separate.
Okay. And
equal.
so LL Cool J is established, like he's on the border. He's making sure students stay where they're supposed to stay.
Yeah.
He's vigilant in his job. He's also calling his girlfriend, and like he's trying to be like a writer, like a thriller writer. And he's like he's like reading from his own script. He's like,
Okay.
she walked into the room, her breasts quivering with anticipation. No, I don't know why they're quivering. Yeah, that's just a thing they do. What should I say? Should I say giant breasts? Like, I mean, it's stuff like that, and it's
really weird.
it is really
It has
weird.
nothing to do with anything.
No,
it's very
no, no.
strange.
I hate it. I hate it.
So
How can you criticize him? You have scissors sticking out of your brain.
so
You're a piece of shit.
so showing up at the school now.
You're just a piece of shit.
Showing up at the school.
I like you, but you're a piece of shit.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, Brad. We've
okay. Well,
we've
showing
hit
up at
the
the school.
The pizza has hit our
We
glucose
ate so
levels.
much mashed potato pizza.
Yeah.
Oh,
I had one slice.
I'm gonna do my stretches in a minute. I ain't gonna do it.
Oh, don't do it.
Michael Myers has
Mike
shown up
Myers.
at the school, and he is not
I don't think
happy.
he's taking classes.
No, he's not. He's not registered, so he shouldn't be there. And the boyfriend the kids are attacked, and the two, like the couple friends,
They're
dead.
done.
They're dead.
They're done.
Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams still alive.
The ones that we recognize.
Yes, still alive.
Yep.
And then Michael is menacing Laurie Strode, and
He's going,
Alan Arkin.
man, like
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Okay.
And
Keying her
so
car.
they're hiding, and like a shape comes around the corner, and so Alan Arkin
a
is
rhombus.
like, I gotta shoot. So he shoots. It's
you know
LL
why he
Cool
said the
J.
shape?
He ejaculated?
No,
Wait, do you know why he said the shape? There's one thing we didn't cover.
yeah.
What?
That in the original script for the original Halloween, he's
Yeah.
not like
Michael Myers. He's the
in
shape.
Yeah, he's not in the credits as Michael Myers.
It's just the shape. That's what he's referred to as the entire script. Is the
Really?
shape. Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow,
right?
okay.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's cool.
So hold on. So LL Cool J ejaculates.
Nope. Alan Arkin.
Alan
shoots.
Arkin ejaculates.
Nope. No. Takes a
He
like a
shoots.
pistol, like a gun,
Oh.
like a handgun, like a revolver.
A handgun.
Yes.
You know
And,
what that means, right? One of these. What's a handgun?
How much mashed potato
I
pizza did
ate
you
so
eat?
much pizza.
I'm tired
ate
and
so
he's
much pizza.
dying.
LL Cool J is shot.
LL Cool J got shot? Why? Oh, because he was the shape.
Because people are, Alan Arkin, Adam Arkin, whatever.
He was the shape.
Yeah, he just didn't know.
Aaron Sorkin shot him.
Yes, and then Mike Myers kills Aaron Sorkin.
Okay.
Yes.
And he's like, this is for the newsroom.
Laurie gets the kids to safety. Josh Hartnett and Michelle Williams escape, but then she realizes she'll never be safe as long as Michael is still out there.
Yeah. So I assume she settles it and this is all over.
Here's what I got to say. This is the part I wanted to get to.
Yes.
Laurie Strode says, when I was a baby, my older brother killed my sister on Halloween when she was 17 years old.
Right.
And she says he went away to prison for years. He broke out, and then he tried to kill me when I was a teenager on Halloween. And the guy says, "Oh, that's awful. Like, how'd you get through that?" And she's like, "It was really hard, blah, blah." He goes, "How old were you?" And she says, "I was 17. And then she looks at the calendar, realizes it's Halloween.
And the calendar says, your son is 17.
And the thing is, we know that her son is 17.
And written on it, it's like 17th birthday for my son.
Yeah. So in this one, it's really
another Strode.
It's really strange because in the first movie, I guess it's a coincidence, but it's true that the sister was 17,
right,
and that Laurie Strode was 17.
Yeah.
And they never really addressed that as being a reason for anything. But now Laurie Strode's son is 17, and it's Halloween again, so she gets the idea that this might be when he comes back. That's when they find out that he's back.
Yeah.
Laurie Strode and Michael Myers come face to face, like through glass, and she sees him for the first time in 20 years. She saves the son. She gets down to the gate. She goes to buzz out of the gate, and they could all be free. But she gets out of the car and she says to her son, Josh Hartnett, whose name is not Josh in the movie, take your girlfriend and leave. And he says, like, what do you mean? And she goes, just leave. And then they start driving away, and she closes the gate, and she picks up an axe, and she looks back at the school, and she goes, Michael, and she starts walking back towards the school.
Okay,
and it's a great moment.
It is.
It's an awesome
nice
moment.
moment.
The
That
idea
is a nice
that she actually wants to she wants to confront him.
Now, could you then have her smash the axe head right into his chest,
Yes.
and then have her say, "Looks like you're taking the Strode untaken," right? And then just pull.
I tried to come up with this Strode thing too.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can continue because I wanted to just say the reveal and then the turnaround.
Well, they fight and fight and fight and bite and bite and bite. Fight.
Yeah.
The Laurie and Michael show. She stabs him numerous times and pushes him over another balcony.
Another balcony.
Then prepares to stab him again, but is stopped by LL Cool J, who survived the shooting.
So we've already gotten a few great moments in this
Why
movie.
was she stopped?
Hold on. So she goes to do it, and he's like, he goes, he's dead. Like she's freaking out almost. Like if you were actually killing someone and you just kept shooting them because you're crazy, and someone's like, okay.
I don't know. Whenever I've killed somebody, like I stop as soon as I know they're dead.
So
Not
he
me.
stops her.
You keep going, but that's
And so-
because it's an emotional thing.
He's like, okay, he's dead. So we find out LL Cool J is alive. Michael Myers is again supposed dead, and they shows the cops pulling up, and everyone, the ambulance is taking his body out and everything, and she's looking
Like LL Cool J is on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, no, I was just grazed. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm thinking of becoming a screenwriter."
Yeah.
And it was like, he didn't look at the camera, but like,
Yeah.
he was looking at it.
So here's where it's great. So the movie is coming to a close. This is where the movie ends, and where, as an audience, we're used to the fact that, okay, in the next movie we're gonna find out, blah blah.
Yeah.
And she's like walking to the thing, and she slowly like picks up an axe off the fireman's thing.
She's gonna say the Strode line.
And she goes behind a cop, and she pulls a gun out of his thing, and she pulls on the police. She's like, stop. And they're like, whoa. And they're like, get away from his body. And she has them load him into the ambulance.
The coroner's van.
The coroner's van. And she's like, get away. And they all back up, and she gets in and starts driving away. And she's driving, and she's looking in the rearview mirror, and she's like, come on, get up.
Yeah.
And then he starts moving in the body bag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like the idea of taking the stupid continuity beforehand, where he always does, and having a character exist with that knowledge,
Right.
is so sick.
Although I would say what you want to be doing is not be in the driver's seat of the van when that's happening. You want to be like standing next to it
With a
and
gun
as
to his
soon as
head.
it's moving, bang.
So
right?
here's what happens.
Or maybe don't even wait.
So
Yeah, just do it.
So here's what happens. So he drives like, come on. He gets up, he gets out of the body bag, he goes for her, and she's looking, slams on the brake. He flies through the front window, goes in the road. And I'm watching this, and I've totally forgot about everything. I watched it like, a week ago or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is so fucking awesome. I was flipping out.
But like, what if he didn't go through the window?
Well, he did. So she's like, come on, she's waiting. He stands up, and she guns it, and she hits him with the car, and he's like looking at her, and he's like,
what was that?
Because the car's still driving.
Slipping on a slippery floor?
The car. Yeah. Imagine if you got hit by a car and the car was still driving. You'd be like, what the fuck am I doing? She hits the side of a road, van starts flipping, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
He falls out of it, but he goes in front of the van.
Yep.
The van crushes him between a tree and like, the actual van's body. And she goes down, and she's hurt too, whatever. But she has the axe, and he's like crushed between the two things. And he's looking at her, and he's like, and he reaches his hand out to her, and she starts seeing him, and she's like feeling like weird and bad. And so she goes
it's her brother.
It's her brother.
Yeah, yeah.
She puts her hand out.
Now she puts her hand. Now she's like, "Oh, Michael."
Yes. Puts her hand out to touch his hand, grabs the axe, chops his head off. And the Halloween music hits, the theme hits, and his head rolls and ends up on like looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie ends. Tell me that's not cool.
That's fun. And then the eye winks, and then you hear Michael Myers speak for the first time. He goes, "I'll be just fine. Hey, don't you worry about it. I'll be just
Don't
fine.
worry, kids.
See you next Halloween."
But
And then
here's my thought. First of all, thumbs way up. Thumbs up for Brad.
Thumbs down.
And why do you say thumbs down to this one?
I
let
didn't
the
enjoy it at
man
all.
have his own thumbs.
What do you feel about all the moments I just excited you with?
I liked her
Turning around.
knowing. Yeah, I liked her deciding to end it because this is the first time that that anyone has shown any agency,
Right.
other than the
agency,
Loomis,
yeah.
over their own actions. I do think it's cute. She had like the gun she took out in this one is like a 38 special or like a very small like 6-shot revolver, and it's only cute because we know that in the 2018 Halloween, she has an arsenal.
Yeah.
And so, like, comparing the two Laurie Strodes, just with that knowledge, watching this, fun. I was just, like, I didn't care if Josh Hartnett lived. I didn't care if Michelle, I didn't care if anyone lived. I did like I have the knowledge that this guy's going to come back. Although, if you look at continuity, how does she have that knowledge?
This is one of the things I want to talk about.
Right, yeah, good point.
Because,
This is something that happens in the later movies where they retcon everything again.
Yeah.
And they all are kind of like, Michael Myers is a force of evil in this town. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's a force of evil in real life because we know all these things happened. But if you just retconned 8 of these movies,
right?
Well, I mean, like in terms of
Real life.
the audience knows.
like outside.
The audience knows he is, but the characters,
They're
the characters within this movie should not be privy to the fact that all these other movies happened.
Yeah,
Right.
So to you,
they're not 72 kills.
yeah,
in
exactly.
Jamie Lee Curtis's world.
In
Yeah,
the later one,
There's 16.
it's literally like he killed a certain amount of people 40 years previous. Sorry.
It's all right. 20 years ago,
No,
he murdered 16 people.
But in
Yeah.
a later movie,
Right.
He's not
has-
up to 72.
Right.
Right?
No, he hasn't done anything in 40 years in a later movie.
Right. Yeah.
40 years have gone by since anything happened with him, and they're like, we have to end this. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, at that point, you're like, good for him. He's 50-something years
No,
old.
he hasn't done anything in 40 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's- well, it's like-
that's a 50, almost 60-year-old man.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for him.
Yeah.
The dexterity.
You gotta find hobbies.
But that's the thing.
You do.
That's the thing is that they're acting with the knowledge of these sequels in terms of like we know Michael Myers is a menace.
Yeah.
But the characters in the movie shouldn't really know that he's going to continue to do this.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it's all right. I liked her stealing the van. I thought LL Cool J, like, it was his agent saying, no, LL Cool J can't die in this film. And that seemed cheap to me.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
And the like concerned boyfriend of the traumatized woman, I wanted him to survive because that's who I'm going to end up being.
You're going to kiss her boobs as she tells you what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the best way to get someone to unlock their traumas.
Give me those boobs. How he killed you?
So, anybody in your family die?
Yeah.
What do you mean your brother killed your sister?
Yes.
What?
How old were you?
And you were how old? And he's just going,
Anyway, you loved it. And
Do you do this after shakes with a lady? Are you like, anyway, I was the best you've ever had. Shut up.
she goes, it was okay. I'm glad I did. I wouldn't do it again. And I'm like, you loved it?
Yeah, you loved it. Shut up. You're always like this. Get the fuck out of here.
You said I was the mashed potato pizza of lovers.
Yeah. What?
Oh, God.
There were 7 kills in this
We're up
film.
to 79.
Which brings our total to 79. Now, while we were eating pizza, I took a 9 out and set it over there to make things a little easier.
Wow, this is his 3rd death, right?
Yes.
So change that to a 9.
79.
Yep.
Almost nice.
Yes. So close.
For the medium of podcasting and streaming on YouTube, we have a board.
Change deaths to 3.
We have It's Wine O'Clock, the board. Oh, no.
You guys mind if I do my stretches while we look for the numbers?
No, go ahead and do those stretches. It's something for the camera to catch.
The pizza's heating me up is what he said. You just said the pizza's heating me up. That's like, it's like foreplay to you. It's disgusting. The pizza's heating me up.
Do those stretches. 1, 2,
Do them facing
3.
your seat.
4, 5, 6.
Is this like what it's like when you do have sex? You have Brad sitting off to the side counting thrusts.
And stopping at 6.
And stopping at 6. Get it all out on the 6, buddy, because this is it. Oh. This is the worst strip club I've ever been to in my life.
It's like this, it's tight.
Ray and I are driving home.
We both just got a lap dance.
Our 2-hour conversation on the drive home is going to be like, I don't get it.
You should have been sitting there.
Right.
All right. Also in this film, 0 nutsack shocks. So that
just
stays
keep that
at
right there. Yeah,
0.
just keep it right there.
Okay, all right. Moving on. This is probably the worst of the worst.
Can I have Teo sit in for me? Teo is the lovely young man who is taking his time to be here at Best Video.
He was the one who told me to get the mashed potato pizza.
He did tell you to get the mashed potato pizza, yeah. If he could sit in, I'll give him my flannel.
No, I need you to be here. Someone has to watch me when I do my stretches to make sure my form is good.
Ray, Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah, that's what it's for. You're like, no, if you don't watch, I can't finish. I can't finish. Then what's the point?
So I'd say out of the 12 Halloween movies that I've seen, Halloween H2O, top 4. And then this one is probably the worst.
I think there are 2 good ones, 1 campy good one, 2 that are okay, and the rest are dreck.
What about 2018? Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is a different cover than
H2O.
the cover that was just up here.
You can tell because
was a different
Tyra
one.
Banks and
I see that one?
Busta Rhymes are on it.
See, this is really all I know is that Tyra and Busta were in one. You know what I mean?
Busta?
Yeah. Or Busta Tyra. I was late to work because I busted Tyra. I gotta go home.
Gross.
I gotta go. Ooh, her hair is not looking as fun anymore. Jamie Lee.
Halloween Resurrection is terrible. There's
Thank you. Have a good night.
no bones about it. It starts out with Laurie Strode in a psychiatric hospital, and 2 nurses are talking like, "Oh, isn't it terrible? What happened?" Like a nurse, an experienced nurse, is explaining this to a new nurse. "Oh, it's so terrible. Like she was attacked by her brother," and then we cut back.
Oh, Bray's going to hate this. I forgot about this.
Yes, he is. And we see like the EMT going to like get the corpse of Michael Myers.
Oh, was this just all in her head?
No,
Or
no,
her
no.
crazy
no. Can I
fantasy?
tell him?
Yeah,
Mind if
please
I
do.
tell him?
Yeah, go ahead.
So she's like, oh, yeah, like, it's crazy. Her brother attacked her on Halloween, and she's in an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And the other nurse is like, oh, her brother attacked him. Like, why is she in here? And she goes, well, she wanted to kill her brother. And it's flashing back, and you
Yep.
see all the same stuff you saw. She goes, but she didn't know. And it's showing all the car stuff. He goes, that her brother switched out his body with the EMT's body, and it shows when the EMT went to move Michael into the coroner's van, like from inside the school, that Michael killed him and took his own mask and put it on the EMT in the last movie. And so, like, she's like, oh my God, so she killed him by accident? She's like, yeah, and it's showing the part.
And that EMT was like extra human because he was able to survive all the insane shit up to getting his head cut off.
Yes.
No, well, so,
Yeah.
well, nothing happened to him in between those times. That's after he fell off the thing.
He had his larynx crushed by Michael Myers, so he couldn't speak.
That's,
Say,
why, that's
hey.
why he couldn't
Right,
speak.
but then he flew through a windshield.
Yes.
Got pinned between a van and a tree.
Right.
Yes.
And then still was just like, what's up?
And so when he was like reaching out to her,
Yeah.
now it's reframing that as the guy had his larynx crushed.
Yeah, and he's
was
like,
trying
help,
to say,
help, yeah.
I mean, maybe he should have taken off the mask.
That's what I would have done. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so she killed this EMT, and now Michael Myers is still alive.
Yep.
So the deaths, well, you keep it at 3.
Yeah. So she's understandably upset, but they give her pill and she takes it, and then they leave, and of course she takes it out of her mouth, and she has like a whole
teddy bear.
Yeah, teddy bear full.
So this
Or
is
Raggedy
Terminator
Ann,
2.
Raggedy
Yeah, Raggedy Ann.
So
full
this
of
is Terminator 2.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's very
Yeah.
similar.
And she kind
And
of
then
sets
Michael
a trap.
Myers shows up. But now he's a good guy.
Well,
and he's like,
he
come
does
with
show
me
up.
if you want to
Yeah,
live.
no, he didn't.
Right?
He didn't say that. This
No.
is 3 years. So this is 2001. 3 years later, and Michael Myers shows up. Laurie Strode has kind of
2001?
set a trap. Yep. Trap works.
Not that October. Not that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Michael, not this year.
Yeah.
Okay? Take a year off.
Well,
We're
already taken
still
1,000 years off.
The nation is reeling.
He was wearing an American flag lapel pin. So
That's good.
yeah.
Then it's fine.
But
Then it's fine.
Laurie traps him, and she goes to kill him, but she panics.
Well, give me. So basically, he goes,
You gotta tickle it a
to
little
the
bit.
insane asylum.
I love that it's like, let's talk about pizza for 20 minutes.
Yeah, sorry.
So he goes to the insane asylum, and basically he tries to kill her there, and she's like tricking him on the roof and
Yep.
making him go up there, and so she wants to kill him, obviously. And how do they fall off like that? What do you think happens?
I thought it was oil shoes.
So basically, they're on the roof, and I think that she basically tricks him into like a literal trap.
Yeah.
He's hanging upside down.
So the two of you are supposed to be here to tell me about these movies.
such a bad
And
movie.
the
There
two
was
of you are
12 of
just
them.
like, what happened now?
So he's hanging upside down.
Yeah.
And she goes to kill him.
But she wants to take the mask off to make sure
Well,
that it's the
make
right
sure
guy.
it's him.
This is one of the logistical flaws. Is he goes like this.
Logistical.
He goes like this. And he's doing the same thing as
Yeah.
the EMT.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why she wants to take the mask off, because she thinks back
So
to when
he's
she killed the
clever
EMT.
about it.
But here's the thing. How would he know that the EMT
Yeah,
did that
right,
to her?
of course.
He would not.
Well,
So-
what you need to understand, Chuck, is in each subsequent movie, everybody saw all the other movies.
Right.
Yes, I know.
She walked over to the mask.
Yep.
To him, to
Yeah.
unmask him.
To unmask him, and then he
Stabs her in the belly.
stabs her. Okay.
Laurie
Where
Strode.
was the knife?
He had it in his hand. She never disarmed him before
And
catching.
she's like, I better walk over to
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're speeding it up, but what happens is he grabs her, they flip, they fall off the roof. They're both hanging together on the side of the roof, and they're holding on to each other like falling off.
Yeah.
And he has the knife, and he kind of like pushes it up into her stomach as they're hanging there, and she's like, and she's like getting killed.
Yeah.
And then she kisses him on the lips, right?
I don't remember that.
She kisses him on the lips, and she says, "I'll see you in hell."
I do remember her saying, "I'll see you in hell."
And then he drops her, and she dies, and she's literally dead.
That's a bummer because, like, the badass Jamie Lee in that is interesting, and she's only around for the very end of one movie and the very beginning of another.
Well, we'll see where this goes.
Well, it's a
I'm
year.
not talking about the new ones.
It's a year later, and some college students win a competition to appear on an internet reality show called Dangertainment.
This is what I have a
Yeah.
memory of this being in the zeitgeist. All I really remember is that there were webcams up in the house, and they went there like, "Whoa, we're gonna do it!" And Busta says some words at one point,
Says a lot of
and
them.
like shuts the door on him. That's all I know is like he shows up and like Busta opens the door and sees Michael Myers, and then says something to him, and just like shuts the door, something like that.
Something like that.
It's,
Something like that.
Yeah,
You'll tell me in a minute.
Busta Rhymes is like the producer.
Producer, yeah.
And
I'd say.
Tyra Banks, playing a character named Nora, is like the director.
Nora Banks.
And neither one is like a pleasant character.
Yeah.
And we have our down on her luck plucky girl who is she's not sure if she wants to be on the reality show.
She kind of doesn't want to be on, but her friends are trying.
Her friends are doing it,
and her friends all get it, and she's
God.
like, I don't really
She's
want
like,
to go.
I just want to study.
Yeah.
And so, but they all get accepted to go to the audition thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know. And they're interviewing them, and something surprises her, and she screams in the audition, and her scream breaks glass literally in the room.
Okay.
And I think Busta Rhymes is like, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so she gets cast. Want to hear an interesting fact?
Yes.
That actress in real life, you're not going to believe me, but this is a true fact, incapable of screaming. So all of her screams are dubbed in by a different actress.
I had no idea.
Scream dub.
Scream job.
Dub.
Oh. Scream job is something
Scream
else.
Can you give me a scream job? All right. Oh no, I wasn't gonna do the actor. I wasn't gonna do the actor.
Brad.
The pitch of this
Is that
reality
recording?
Yeah.
Damn.
the pitch of their reality show with 2002 technology
Yeah.
is you have to spend a night in Michael Myers' home to find out what led him to kill. And they're all cast on like October 30th.
Yeah, and one kid walks out of a room like in the morning. He's like, it turns out he was molested.
Can I tell you something? One of the things I think is really funny about the time period for this is that it's so early in the days of the internet that they give you no context about where this is airing, who's going to watch it, how many people are going to watch. There's no
Oh, dude,
context.
right.
They just go, we're doing this show. Here's the show, and that's it. And you never see anyone really outside of them besides one weird character that watches it.
Tail end of the 90s, early 2000s.
Yes.
There could be a genre. You could go through all of these DVDs and fill a shelf.
Yeah.
With movies that had no idea how the internet worked
Yeah.
or would work later.
Yes, exactly.
And yet they're like, we need to base an entire film on the plot of the things that happen on the internet.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
exactly right.
The Net is probably the most known one. That was,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like it did really well. Like people know it. That was still a little goofy about what the internet is because it was just changing so rapidly. And you look at it
sure.
now and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stuff like this where it's like everything's going to be online. It's like, I mean, it will be, but not this way.
Right.
There's,
You know what I
there's
mean?
literally no context. When I was watching it, that's one of the
Tons
things
of
that
horror
really
movies.
was like, I was like, what is this supposed to even be? It's not even like, oh, this is like AOL. This is like this. It was not like anything.
Right.
It's like, it's Dangertainment. Tune in. It's like,
No,
where?
but that's the
What do
thing
you
is,
mean?
Yeah.
but that's the
I know,
thing is like
I know.
back then they would just do a movie where it was like, and the kills are happening or there's people that fight to the death or whatever, and it's like okay, but where and how? And it's like, but it's just a website. People go to the website and
Yeah.
watch it on the website.
I know, there's no-
and
yeah.
then there was always like a view counter that's
Yeah.
like a digital clock,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
letters or
Yes.
numbers. I mean, and it's just like, oh, how many people are watching right now? And you see it like dip and then rise and all
And
that.
there's,
shit.
there's nothing
It's
even like
insane.
that. They never really even reference an audience for this. That's what's so weird about it.
Okay.
There's like one weirdo kid, and he's like chat friends with the plucky
the main,
girl,
the main character.
the final girl, and
The Ghost.
yeah, and he's an outsider, but his friend is like, we got to go to this party. We got to go to this party. We're gonna meet girls. It's gonna be great. And so they go to this party, and he like breaks into the girl's dad's study, and there's a computer, and he's got a big TV on the wall that's his monitor, and he pulls up this Dangertainment, and then people like throughout the movie, people stumble in and they start watching, and they're all transfixed, and it's like the coolest thing at this party
Yeah.
is watching this Dangertainment of these kids in Michael Myers' house. Now, back at the house, Tyra Banks is a demanding director. And she's like yelling at the cameraman of like where to set up his camera, and she's not paying attention. Michael Myers, of course, like comes in, and the guy's got a camera on a long, like a boom pole, And Michael Myers kills him with that. But Tyra Banks doesn't see it because she is too self-absorbed and, kind of a mean director.
And one of the things that's really strange
You could maybe take a lesson from all of that.
is Brad's getting killed in the background by Michael Myers. I'm like, Ray, you sit here,
Yeah.
watch me stretch. Help me.
Tell me my pizza choices are amazing.
So what's really interesting is the plot of this movie, because there's not that much to with the story.
No.
Is essentially that Busta Rhymes, Tyra Banks, the group has placed stuff in the house to try to like influence the kids into coming up with some kind of narrative.
Yeah.
Like they'll put like fake bones in different spots to make it look like, wow, he buried a corpse here, but it's all fake.
Yeah.
And they know that they've done that.
Yeah,
But-
they figured out early on.
Yeah, but in the meantime, underneath the house, through a breakaway wall, Michael Myers has actually been living there. But here's what's weird. If you
What?
think about the
What?
he lives under the house with like, there's a little bed with a doll and like dead rats that he tore up and ate and stuff like that are in there. And they eventually find this. But here's what's weird in the continuity of the movie. So yes, he kills the cameraman, and then obviously he starts killing these kids. But like, what about when they were like getting the house ready
Yep.
and planting
Yeah,
all these
yeah.
props and stuff like
Right.
that? What about when they were making all the props go in there?
It wasn't Halloween.
So anyway,
Do you hear snoring?
so basically, do you hear snoring? Do you hear killing? So what happens is the kids are going around the house and like, they're trying to bang each other. One of them's like, hey, like, how about if we bang? And
I just sorry, real quick.
they do.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes is it's the night before they're filming. Busta Rhymes is in his hotel room and he's like, watching a martial arts movie, and he says the name of the actor. He's like, oh, that guy could really fight. And then the plucky girl shows up at the door and she's like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, and he's like, oh, come on. And it's like, that's the extent of his pep talk. And she's like, okay, I'll do it. And he's like, huh, I still got it, or whatever, pats himself on the back. I'm like, that wasn't an inspirational talk. That wasn't like, hey, you have to stick to your contract. It was nothing.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Other than showing that Busta Rhymes likes watching martial arts
So
films.
later he can do a karate.
It's a Chekhov's
Karate.
karate.
So basically, the kids are sexy teens, so they're trying to hook up. I think two of them.
Whoa, Chuck.
I think two of them do hook up, right?
Yes, they do. They're in college.
And
okay,
but they're teens, and
But they're teens.
still teens. And at one point, you see Michael Myers walk through the living room, and you're like, all right, this makes sense. It's Halloween. But then
This makes sense.
then you see another Michael Myers walking behind him closely. There's two shuffling together. And the first one turns around and sees the second Michael Myers, and he goes, what? Oh. And he takes his mask off. And the first one's Busta Rhymes. And he's like, man, what are you doing in here? I didn't tell you to come in here. He's like calling him like Cliff or Clyde or
Yeah.
whoever works
Yeah,
for him.
yeah.
He's like, you're not supposed to be in here. I'm supposed to be dressed like Michael Myers. I never told you to dress like Michael Myers. And as the audience, you're like, oh no, that's probably really Michael Myers. He's like, get out of here. Get through your thick skull. And he's like slapping his face and stuff like that, so that you're just like, oh boy, Michael Myers is not going to appreciate that.
Yeah.
And he's like, get out of here. And Michael Myers turns around and leaves. And it's just like a weird scene where like it
Yeah.
was like, that was a close call.
Yeah, the kids find out what's going on, but two of them have been murdered at this point. Then they discover the corpses. Another one is murdered.
But Busta says, get out of here.
And Michael Myers leaves.
And Michael Myers is like, I've been bested.
He's
For the first time in like a lot of time.
That's the secret.
In like 25 years.
Yeah, somebody just needs to go, excuse me, you're being very rude.
And
I'd
he
like you to
slapped
leave
him in the
now.
head. He gave
Yeah.
him one of these.
Ding, ding.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
The kids are killed, and so the plucky girl, turns out her name is Sarah. Everyone else is killed. Sarah and Freddie, Busta Rhymes' character, escape. We know that Tyra Banks has met her demise. We're not sure how. Eventually, they get back to the control room with all the monitors. And meanwhile, like this guy at the party is like texting her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
one of the
and
guys
being
that's
like-
watching it only knows her. He only knows her via the internet.
Yeah.
He doesn't know her in real life whatsoever. We don't know anything about his life besides he talks to her.
Okay.
He's like an outcast, a high school outcast.
Right.
And she's
Okay.
like a college first year student, and she's
Yeah.
a plucky heroine. And
She's on heroin.
Yes. And so, he's like on your left or whatever, like letting her know via this instantaneous live stream in 2002
Yeah.
what's
on
going
your
on.
left. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So they escape, they get to the control room, and like she's fighting with Michael, and they discover Tyra Banks has been like murdered and hung in the rafters.
Yes.
Michael attacks again. Busta Rhymes has been attacked, but oh no, he's still alive, and an electrical fire starts in the garage, and kerosene has spilled all over. You can tell him.
What happens?
I forget.
Busta Rhymes goes in there.
Busta Rhymes has some like a live wire.
Well, hold on.
Oh,
Well, did he-
no.
Well, did he already say Happy Halloween, motherfucker?
That's
Or
it's
part?
Busta Rhymes has like 3 or 4 different things that he's like, Happy Halloween, motherfucker. And then, like, you know, and you're like, all right, that's his big line. And then, you know, 2 minutes later, he's like, trick or treat, motherfucker.
He tried
it's-
every line, and they're like, let's keep them.
Let's
all
keep them all. There,
Yeah.
you know, there's a scene when they introduce him, like the kids walk into the room with the producers, and he's like, all right, listen up. And it cuts like the
Yeah,
word
listen
up.
up, motherfuckers.
No, it cuts the word up.
Yeah.
It's just a bad cut, and you're like, oh, they're introducing him as the authority figure,
Yeah.
and then they do his little side conversation, and they come back, and he's like, all right, welcome, and it's just they use 2 different
it's
takes
very bad.
of the
Yeah,
entrance,
yeah.
and it should not be in a big budget movie. It should not be in it should not be in a movie. It was
Yeah.
that poorly done.
So he has a live wire. Trick or treat, motherfucker. Happy
Whatever.
Halloween, motherfucker. See you next Kwanzaa, motherfucker. Nutsack shock. Oh, I can do it at the end.
Yeah,
I
you
guess.
can do it at the end. So Michael is set on fire.
His nutsack is shocked.
Busta Rhymes has used the kung fu that he has seen on TV and presumably also practiced
Yeah.
to attack and assault Michael Myers. Holds his own pretty well with Michael Myers, who again has at this point destroyed an entire police force.
Multiple times.
Yeah. Multiple times. Yeah.
Multiple times. But no, can't fight Busta Rhymes, who, again, it's clearly in his contract, I have to be a badass.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to do it. And the producers are like, yeah, that's an interesting choice. That
So-
will be rewarding to the viewers.
So they fry him good. Nutsack shock, fire, kung fu, and at the end, what I remember. First of all, these characters are so inconsequential.
Oh, yeah.
Like even though the main girl like lives, and this guy Deckard, the guy that she was talking to online, he also lives. They really have nothing to do with the history of the story or anything.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
kind of don't feel anything.
Nope.
Michael Myers is fried, and the last shot of the movie is him in a body bag, like at the morgue, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, you got Michael Myers. You got a celebrity here. It's Michael Myers." And she unzips the thing, and he's just like fried, and his face is all like burned with the mask on it. And then he just opens his eyes for a final shock, and it goes to like directed by Busta Rhymes, you know. And that's that one. So that's the third continuity.
It's interesting because, like, in that movie, I remember that movie coming out, and I remember ads for it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it did really feel like, hey, we have this property, and, you know, the original movie is a classic. It's wonderfully made. It's
Yeah.
a really well-made film.
Yeah.
You know, it's iconic, all those things. We still have the property. And guess what? We're going to put this movie out, and we don't even take it seriously.
Oh,
we
it's-
think Michael Myers is a joke.
Well, it's
You
one
know,
of those,
that's what it
yeah.
sounds like to me.
it's one of those things where, well, it's weird. People say that when by the time Scream came out, it was almost like you either had to go in that super self-aware direction or like a comedy direction.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is where they went with like the Child's Play movies, and even Freddy vs. Jason has a lot of comedic elements to it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the similar.
Well,
thing.
Freddy versus Jason is also very bad.
I love Freddy vs. Jason as like a bananas movie.
It's a bad movie.
Oh, I like it, but
On Halloween Halloween Resurrection, where's your thumb?
Yeah, show me your thumbs, boys.
you're not going to believe this.
Come on, boys. Oh!
This was the worst one in the franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
so. Yeah, I think it's the worst.
I think it's just that you guys are kind of racist. I think
Yep.
it's because it has the largest
African
African
American
American
cast.
casting.
It doesn't. There's a larger one. Maybe I'm misremembering it.
Or are you just thinking of one really big guy?
So basically,
Michael Clark Duncan.
I really do think this is one of those situations where they're like, first of all, it was made by Dimension, who made like smaller movies. It's not like it's made by like
It was,
Paramount.
the director had dementia?
No,
Yes.
so Dimension.
That would explain quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I think
Where am I? No, point the camera over there.
I think that a lot of these studios are like, hey, we want to make, like Pulp Fiction was made by Miramax and stuff.
Yeah.
We want to make these movies, but we have Michael Myers who guarantees this much money coming into the box office, aka this much money coming into our company. And I
Yeah.
think that that's what it is. We got to put out a Michael Myers movie. It's been this many years.
10 kills in this film, bringing our total to 89.
I'd say, I guess he's not dead.
He's not dead. His eyes open on
His eyes open.
the
Yeah.
table at the morgue.
Yeah.
However,
Not sack
What are we
shot.
up to again?
89.
We need an 8 and a 1. I guess they kind of, I'm guessing that Halloween Resurrection probably did not do that well at the box office. The reviews were probably the worst of any movie that came out from the Halloween series, I would guess. I don't know.
There we go.
Perfect. So at this point in time, they decided to reboot it again. So we're talking about fourth continuity here. This is the
Okay.
fourth continuity, what I call the zombie continuity.
This makes sense because it was directed
Robert.
by
Zombie.
Robert Zombie.
Yeah.
Now, this one, I think we can go through kind of quickly because it's really a reboot of the first one. And the story is essentially the same throughout.
Child on Halloween.
Kills his sister.
Kills his sister. He's dressed as a clown. However, in this, we get so much more backstory
Yes.
of his terrible home life.
Okay. I
But
remember.
I was going to
ahead.
say that basically some people think this destroys the original
Mm-hmm.
because he's supposed to just be evil. But I'm kind of like, well, that was what came out in 1978. Then they came out with 7 more.
Yeah.
And so they've already kind of gone in these different directions, whatever. I think that showing an elongated version of his backstory before that happens is totally acceptable.
Yeah.
If we're just going to be like, well, these runes and this and this and this and Busta Rhymes and this reality show.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you shouldn't show a reason why Michael Myers is bad because he's supposed to be just bad. It's like, well, let him just do a different thing. So this
Yeah.
movie, the first 40 minutes take place when he's like 10.
I will say it doesn't interest me in the least, the idea of seeing his background and the explanation being like he had a bad childhood, like
Right.
his dad was really bad.
It's not exactly that though, because he's
Right.
kind of also a disturbed boy.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's part of it.
But my thing is like it's uninteresting to me because it's not anything I think anyone wouldn't think of right away. You know what I mean? Like, hey, Mike Myers, like, what do you think happened? If you had to show his background, what would you do? I think every single person's first thought is
Yeah.
he probably had a really bad childhood. His dad was really abusive,
interest-
probably beat the shit out of him.
well, there's a lot of questions.
And then it's Rob Zombie version, so you know it's just going to be like the ugliest white trash people on screen
Yeah, well, it's basically
with no makeup, saying like the worst swears and like fucking in front of the kid and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, what's interesting is like I think that Michael Myers is almost like we've talked about, borderline like occult affected evil.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh man, this guy had this happen and so he grew up to be this thing. It's more like Michael Myers is like the devil was born inside a person.
Right.
That's kind of
Right.
how they treat
yeah,
it.
it's
throughout the
like
series.
it's like Damien. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's
yeah, exactly. But grown up.
Right.
That's kind of how they treat it. So this is a little bit more in a different direction, and people shit on it. Honestly, for the opposite reason that you're talking about,
that it just gives a reason.
that it gives a reason that
Yeah.
basically like he should not have that background. He should be from a completely fine family, and he would be like this no matter what. He is the shark from Jaws.
Yeah.
That's what people kind of think.
Right.
I think I would err on that side. I think I would go on that side personally, just
Yeah.
because I think it's more interesting.
Well-
I think it's lazy to be like, oh, what did this horrible person, what was their childhood? It was horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
will say-
It's just,
I will
there's
say-
nothing new there.
But the original Halloween, great project by itself, which is, I mean, it's probably like 88 minutes, probably pretty short.
Right.
But the idea of with the way they dove into it throughout all the movies was very unsatisfying, I think, story-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at least making this have somewhat of a story. Like, you know, we talked earlier about how I said he gets Judith Myers' tombstone and he kills a person that sort of looks like her and puts her under it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's never, ever given anything.
Right.
This to me is more satisfying in terms of then they do get to those places and it does feel like a little bit like he was actually trying to build a home life. Whereas in the originals, when he did stuff like that, it's like, what does this signify? What are we looking at? Like, why did he put this person under that
Right.
tombstone? For me, anyway. So anyway,
Yeah.
they give you the first 40 minutes. I think it's very effective. I think it might be, along with Halloween 2018, like the scariest of all of them.
Yeah,
it's actually very scary. I think a lot of it is.
Basically they go through, his dad looks like Fat Kid Rock. His mom is played by Sherry Moon Zombie. And
His dad is played by some famous B-movie actor.
right. But like, at one point he's like taped to it. Like Michael kills him. He duct tapes him to a chair and then stabs him repeatedly, which comes up in Rob Zombie Halloween 2. Getting ahead of myself. He's committed to a sanitarium playing Loomis in this version. Is it Malcolm
McDowell.
Malcolm
And
McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell as Loomis, I think, is awesome.
Yes.
He's awesome. He's
Sure,
a great
yeah.
character. He's a little bit different. He's
Yeah.
a little bit more fame hungry. The original Loomis didn't have any of that.
Yeah.
And this one seems a little bit like that. And some of the people in the movie hate him for that, which I think is kind of a cool direction. But in the original story of this one, he is like killing animals, and his mom finds out. He goes to the sanitarium.
He gets bullied at school, and then he like waits for one of the bullies in the woods and
yeah.
beats him to death.
and
with,
the
like,
scene where he beats him to death
It's-
is like
it's brutal.
disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also strange to like give him this kind of backstory where it's like, here's all these horrible things that happened, and it's like, but are we trying to explain away the things, or
I don't think-
explain like
this-
it's
this
a
is one of the
weird like
things-
excusey vibe.
This is
you
one
know
of
what
the
I mean?
things that I have a problem with. Every film has to be making a statement about a grand thing, and this can't just be a character. Because I think a lot of times you can have a person in a movie who is just a character. Like, I don't like it when I see something and someone's like, this guy had a woman as the villain, so what is he saying about women? I'm like, well, can't it just be a character? I don't think
Right.
it's saying that everyone that's a killer, the excuse is, well, what about their... I don't think it's that.
No,
I
I'm
think
not
it's just
saying
the
I'm not
story.
saying that. I'm not saying it's like a big message or anything.
Yeah.
I think it's lazy writing to be like, well, how did the bad man become a bad man? Bad things happened to the bad man, and we'll show he was bullied and he was hit by his parents and said horrible things to him, and that's why he's bad. And I'm like, whenever I see that kind of thing, when it's boiled down just to that,
Yeah.
that's when I'm like,
But
yeah,
it's not boiled down just
people,
to that.
people had shitty parents and didn't grow up to be serial killers.
Well,
you know what I mean?
that's why I'm saying it's not a message, though, because I don't think it is just
I don't think
that.
it's a message. I never said it was a
Yeah,
message.
well,
I'm just
yes.
saying it's just, to me, it's kind of lazy.
So basically, he goes to the insane asylum, and I guess there's an indication that he doesn't remember that any of this happened.
Right.
Because he does say at some point, like, how are things at home, to his mom, and his mom is like, they're fine. And like, she's kind of like,
he kills a nurse, and his mom can't take the grief anymore. She commits suicide.
yeah, so the mom commits suicide in this. There's no indication that he even knows that.
Right.
But eventually they show
Is this when you guys wanted to use the confetti for this really fun show that we're doing?
So Malcolm McDowell as Loomis is still trying to get through to him.
Yeah.
But over the years, he just stops talking. And so you see him age, and Malcolm McDowell is finding like, listen, like, I don't think I can do anything else for you. Like you're not talking, you haven't talked in this many years, whatever.
And now he's nonverbal and
Yeah.
all
Right.
this. Can I ask a question, honestly?
Yep.
If Michael Myers was a figure who was like, ooh, scary thing, right? Are you more scared by the unexplained silence and unexplained turn to pure evil? Or are you more scared of like, well, he had all these bad things happen, he snapped, he went crazy, he did this stuff, and then he didn't talk for so long, and so now he's nonverbal, and that's why he doesn't speak? Is it scarier to have all of those things explained, or is it scarier to be like, I don't know why he does that?
I don't think it's an either or situation when you've already told one of those stories for 25 years.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
tough. That's one of the things that's tough about the idea of, and I don't want to get too into this, but the idea of studios and just Hollywood blockbuster culture or whatever saying this makes money. People pay to see Godzilla. People pay to see Jason Voorhees and saying we got to make another blank. and someone saying, fuck, there's been 8 of these, there's been 10 of these, there's been 25 of these in Godzilla's case, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and saying, let's do another one, let's do another one. When people point to it and say, well, that's not a good direction, I'm like, yeah, but they're cornered and cornered and cornered and cornered.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I was just asking a question. I wasn't. I come down on the side of I think it's scarier to have it unexplained personally. But I'm just asking which one would be scarier.
Well, it really depends on the storytelling, and it
Sure.
also depends on how thoroughly it goes down that path. Because I don't think this movie really goes, this was a normal kid, this happened, and it changed him.
Right.
It almost seems like it was one of the factors, but then he becomes the Michael Myers that we know from the original.
yeah, it's just interesting to me because I think knowing what Mike Myers is, the shape of Mike Myers, the shape of that's my new book.
Okay. Well,
It's really good.
Yep.
The shape of Mike Myers, like the jumpsuit and the mask.
Yeah.
And what we understand of what's underneath that prior to the Rob Zombie stuff.
Yes.
To me, I'm like, yeah, that's scary. We don't, because it embodies like just like at the end of the film, he could be anywhere.
Yes.
It also embodies he could be anyone, right?
I think
I think giving it a specific background that's very obvious, that isn't clever in any way. It's just, here's what you think it would be. That's what it was. To me, even explaining why he doesn't speak, to me, it's like, okay, now when I think of the shape of Mike Myers, I just see this guy who chose to wear the jumpsuit and the mask, and he's not talking because he's nonverbal. And it's like all the things kind of get explained away, where I personally don't think that that's as scary a choice. It's almost like the distinction is the jumpsuit and the mask, that's the guy.
Yes.
Versus this is a guy in a jumpsuit wearing a mask. Does that make sense?
I understand that. I think that they do kind of play with, it's not like it's ABC, because when he
Look at the
goes to the
font.
insane asylum, he's pretty much the same person.
Yeah.
And the change from when he's that person to when he's grown up Michael Myers and he doesn't talk and he's wearing masks all the time and stuff like that doesn't come from that stuff. It's almost like the time in between has more to do with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's still there. It's not even like ever since we told him his mom committed suicide, he stopped talking. It's not like that.
No, I know,
what I
I
mean?
know.
Yeah.
But I think it has an overall effect. I think it paints the picture for you when you're watching a movie to understand what has come before it. And if you take 20 minutes or however, what did you say it was?
It's like 40 minutes.
You
Until
take
he's
40
completely
minutes
adult.
to get to that place.
Yeah.
That's 40 minutes of exposition and backstory that you are subconsciously taking into the next part of this movie.
Sure.
And when you see that character, you understand that background. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Sure.
I'm not saying that's a bad idea or that's a bad
Yeah.
decision or a bad direction.
Yeah.
I'm only saying like that level of attachment or detachment of those things.
Yeah. Well, the other
change.
the other side of it is, if you want to reboot Halloween,
There's
and
no
start
other side
over,
because I'm not taking a side.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying the other side of like
Okay.
writing it.
Yeah.
Is like, what do you do?
Sure.
If
yeah.
we know the movie is very bare bones, we have a lead character who doesn't speak.
Yeah.
We have this other character that, is just Laurie Strode and she doesn't know he's whatever it is. What do you do if you want to reboot this thing and start over from movie one? And I think all you can really do is actually tell a story, as opposed to the absence of a story, which is what you're talking about.
I mean, that element is an absence, yeah.
Yeah, well,
But there's a way to tell the story without telling that part of the story. Because they did it very well in the first movie.
Well, I don't think there is a story. I mean, basically, the rest of the movies demand a backstory that gets kind of created artificially later.
But if you're doing a reboot, you don't need that.
But then it would be exactly the same.
But my point
Yeah.
is, like, if you're going to do that story, those are two different stories. Like, what happens in Halloween, the original Halloween,
Yeah.
is a story.
Right.
And the first 40 minutes of this other Halloween movie,
Yeah.
that's a story.
Yeah.
Do you need that? I don't know. You know what I mean?
It's the question.
Well, I
that-
do know, and you don't
Well,
because they didn't do it in the OG. But I'm not coming
What
down
I'm saying
on
is
it.
like Robert Kirkman, who wrote Walking Dead,
Mm-hmm.
was like, some people are pissed because the Walking Dead TV show differs from the comics. It's not exactly the same. It's like different stories and things that happen at different times.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is like, why would you ever go to see an adaptation of something that is just the exact same thing?
Sure, yeah.
And that's the question. If your lead character is this,
Yeah.
it's almost like unless you want to do the exact same thing that's been done before, you kind of are forced to put some kind of story there.
Sure.
Because that's his whole thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way that I look at it.
Yeah.
And in this one, they do acknowledge that she's his sister.
Yeah.
Laurie Strode's his sister.
Laurie Strode does not appear on screen until like 53 minutes into the movie,
Right.
Ay, ay, ay.
which is how long we've been talking about this Rob Zombie movie. No?
I liked it.
Okay. I liked seeing this movie in theaters
Yeah, I really liked it.
when we saw it.
Yeah.
And it's scary and it's dirty.
And it's like
Yeah, it's a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah.
there's a great moment.
Grime.
There's a great moment in this movie where you see Danny Trejo as like an orderly at the insane asylum, and he's like very nice to Michael Myers when he's like 11 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, Mikey," he's like, "Hey, listen," he's like, "Don't let these walls get to you. You're gonna be okay." And he's like a wicked nice guy, and for all intents and purposes, like you look at them as people who are like, he's a nice guy that's trying to help out.
And there's some terrible orderlies who are like having sex with other inmates, and they're gonna do it in Michael's room, and they're like, "I'm gonna put on your mask, Mikey."
Yeah. And so he kills the terrible ones.
Yeah.
And then and he kind of goes into killing spree, and you see Danny Trejo coming into work, and he sees the bloodbath, and he sees that he killed it, and Michael Myers is just standing there. And Michael Myers' first mask in this is a paper mache orange mask that he makes with this huge like jaw, and it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then Danny Trejo goes up to me. He's like, and he's like scared. And he's like, "All right, listen, Mikey." He's like, "We got to get you back into your cell, okay? All right." And he's like, "I got to put handcuffs on you, okay?" And he's like shaking. And Michael Myers just like puts his hands out like to get the things on. And he goes to do it. And Michael Myers' hands come up and he grabs him. And he just murders Danny Trejo super, super violently. And I think it's like a new turn for like, this is where he becomes the Michael Myers from the first movie, where it's like, has nothing to do with, this is the reason I'm doing this. This person's in my way.
Yeah.
Because up to that point, the orderlies that are harassing him and being dicks and his stepdad, they're all reasons to get bad people back in this way.
Yeah.
And Danny Trejo is the first time where it's like, no, he's just like turned and he can't go back. So basically,
Then it follows the same story.
follows
Laurie
the
Strode
same story.
has friends Annie, who plays Annie.
that's the girl that I have a big crush on, Danielle Harris.
Oh, okay.
So she's 30 and she's playing a
you
17-year-old.
gotta- Yeah.
Yep.
And kind of the babysitter murders, Tommy
Yeah.
Doyle, this, that.
It's the same story.
It's the same story
Yeah.
from there,
Right.
except for the fact that the audience knows that Laurie Strode is his sister in
Right.
this one. In the
Okay.
original one, she's not supposed to be a sister.
Right.
It's supposed to be a random person. And so you kind of go through the same thing, and you end in a similar place
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
Malcolm McDowell comes back, and I believe, if I'm right, Michael Myers falls into a pool at the end.
Yeah.
That's empty. And Laurie Strode is in there with him. And at the end, I believe she shoots him in the face with a gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how the movie ends. But it's pretty much the same story throughout,
Yeah.
besides that.
Okay.
And Sheriff Brackett in this one is played by what's his name? Brad Dourif, who does the voice of Chucky.
Yeah.
And he's fucking awesome in this.
There you go. Yeah.
And I really like this movie. I think it was well done. I think it was scary. I mean, it's funny because, like, if I was 20 in 1992, maybe I would have been scared of the sequels when they came out. But because I didn't get to see them until they kind of seemed outdated,
Yeah.
yeah.
they didn't seem that scary to me. Like Halloween, whatever, like Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5. But this one actually seemed scary. And I really liked the way this movie was constructed, and it felt a lot more real.
I think there's a scene where Laurie Strode is hiding in like an attic, and it's of the Myers house, so it's like old and run down. And Michael Myers has a 4x4 piece of wood, and he's just jamming it up
And he's like doing it and
from
it's
the hallway, and it's
awesome.
it's brutal.
And
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
filmed so well. I mean, it's brutal, but he doesn't get her. So there's no
Right.
gore, there's no blood,
Right.
there's no actual violence in
Yeah,
that
it's
part.
intense.
It's just the tension of what could happen,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's done really well.
Let me see those thumbs, boys.
Middle.
Ooh, is this
Yeah.
Brad's first middle thumb?
Yeah, I'd say Halloween, the original OG, thumbs up, and
Halloween
then this
3
one,
thumbs up.
Halloween 3 thumbs up, but for like
Yeah.
it's an oversized cartoon thumb.
Okay.
Now
that's
here's
fair.
what's weird. This movie is basically Halloween 2007 is basically based on the idea of gritty, like reality.
Yeah.
He followed it up with Halloween 2, which is like complete fantasy,
Okay.
where now Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are psychically linked.
Again, just a different psychic point.
There are ghosts that travel between their dreams.
It's yeah. I'm sorry. Wait, did we do a body count?
Oh yeah, body count.
There are 20 kills in this film, which takes us to 109 for kills.
And I'd say death 4. So Halloween 2, I have to imagine, is largely panned. In the movie, Michael Myers is free, out, whatever. He's just trekking the whole time he's walking through fields. Laurie is now moved in with Sheriff Brackett and his daughter, who is her friend, Annie. And they live in this like hellhole. It's almost like her world has been flipped completely upside down.
Yeah, it starts, we get a flashback of young Michael at the sanitarium, and his mother, Sherry Moon Zombie, gives him like this white horse as a toy.
Yes.
And Rob Zombie was like, it represents nothing except his innocence. Like,
Yes.
it's a toy from his childhood. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a harbinger. It's just a toy that he got when he was a kid.
It makes sense.
Then we get like a 20-minute scene where she's in the hot, she's covered in blood. And so it's the year that everything happened, the year of the events of the previous film. And is it is it a psychic link? Is it a dream? What's going on? We don't know.
Well,
but it's like 25 minutes long.
And here's the thing
of
is
Michael killing people.
And it comes off as kind of a dream, but then what is confusing to me is that he has it and she has it. So it can't just be two separate dreams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like he pictures his mom, Sherry Moon Zombie,
Yeah.
an actual white horse, and himself as a kid.
Oh, it turns out Palpatine was leaning his power in so they could psychically connect, which is what JJ says happens at the end of the last Star
that's
Wars.
Perfect.
gross.
So I guess it's some sort of mystical bond. But anyway,
Are you guys gonna go see Rob Zombie's Star Wars movie?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Day one.
Yeah, it takes place on Tatooine because it's dusty and dirty and grimy. There's some guy putting down bread that magically rises up, and he's like, "Eat your fucking bread, or I'm gonna smash your fucking ass in." And he's just doing that shit, right?
So it's really
Well, my name's not Gleeble Glop the Fifth.
So she's kind of dealing with these mystical visions, but they're shared by him. He's coming for her.
Yeah.
It's all very fantastical. There's a crazy sequence where she goes to dinner with him, like in like a dream, with him as a kid, the mom, and there's all these like people in huge Halloween costumes with like pumpkin heads. It's crazy. And it sucked because there was imagery that came out during the promotion that was like a skeleton with his mask on it, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then there was something else. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
But then when you
It's
see
all
it,
trailer bait shit.
well, that's the thing is like
Yeah.
when you see it, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. It's almost the opposite of Halloween 2007.
Right,
It
right.
pulls it into this and basically, he kills a bunch of people. He kills Annie. The scene where he kills Annie, her friend, and Brad Dourif finds her, and he's flashing back to the home movies is like haunting.
Yeah.
Like you can't watch this movie and say that it's not well shot and well directed and like, but the plot is like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
By the end, it kind of he kills Loomis. The reason I'm going fast through this is because it's just fucking nuts.
Yeah,
he kills Loomis.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
she found out like Loomis wrote another book, and she read the book, and that's when she learned that she was Michael's sister.
Yes.
She's so bummed about it that she goes to a party with her friends.
Okay.
Michael Myers shows up at the party, kills people. She escapes. She flags down a driver.
Yeah.
Michael kills the driver and then picks up the car and flips it over.
He picks up a car and flips it over. So it's kind of like this peak of weirdness.
Yeah.
It's actually shot super well.
Yeah.
It's weird because it's weirdly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great cinematography in it, but not for what this is.
Yeah.
And so
It's no monsters.
he kills Loomis. She goes in a shed with him. She kills Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Or should I say a policeman shoots him and Michael Myers falls back on all these spikes and she stabs him. And then this is where the two cuts
There we go. Okay,
divulge.
sorry. So I was running through the whole theme song in my head.
Yeah.
I figured a slow zoom.
Sure.
It'll be good.
This is where the cuts divulge. But they're pretty much the same. In the theatrical cut, a policeman shoots him through the window. Michael Myers falls back into like a thresher, like that's turned off, but he's killed. She takes a knife and she stabs him. Then they show the shed from the outside, and all the police like put their guns down and look. And Laurie Strode in this movie has come out wearing the Michael Myers mask for like 2 seconds and then takes it off.
Yeah.
And then she kind of like goes into a trance, and it shows her in a room with Cherry Moon Zombie and the White Horse, and she smiles at the camera. And Brad's take, which I agree with, is that it's just confirming that she's capable of the same evil.
Right.
But it's so like, hey, you know that first movie? Let's throw it out the window
Yeah.
and let's go in not like this much of a different direction, but like let's run in the opposite direction until we hit a wall.
Yeah.
And so I was really disappointed in that one.
Boo.
The other cut
Ooh. Oh yeah.
has her coming out, and a police officer kind of like accidentally shoots, and they pump her full of bullets.
Yeah, by accident.
So now Loomis is dead, Myers is dead, and Laurie Strode is dead. And Rob Zombie's like, I wanted that to be their definitive death and be done with them forever, because the studio's notes were so like invasive.
yeah.
That's what he
Yeah.
said. He said that the meddling became insane.
Yeah.
Basically, which I believe is true, but also
Yeah.
the original story is insane.
Whip those thumbs out, boys.
That my thumb is heartily
I'll give you a
down.
down. That's my first down.
There are
Or maybe even two down.
there are 19 kills in this film, which takes us to 128, and there is one death, which brings us to 5. Chuck, what was the shock level of all the nutsacks?
2 if
in
you
the
count
film?
Lori.
Yeah.
And as Ray races
9.
to put these up, and the best video employees stand outside with their
Glare at us.
pitchforks and torches,
Set your car on fire.
we will continue with the final 2 movies that have come out so far
Yes.
in the 5th continuity
I can't find these numbers.
of Halloween.
Movie number 11 in the Halloween franchise is confusingly called Halloween. It is the 3rd movie in the series called Halloween. The 4th, if you count Halloween subtitle, The Curse of Michael Myers. So really, we're just, I guess when there are enough films in the franchise, you run out of titles and subtitles, and you just start reusing things.
Yes. So this is Halloween. I think it's David Gordon Green's Halloween.
DGG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also co-written by Danny McBride.
Okay.
And I'd say of all the movies, in terms of plot, structure, characters, and the way it's shot, I think it might be the best one.
Yes.
All right.
And the story of this one is we're wiping the continuity clean, going back to Halloween 1978. We've created a 5th timeline.
No.
There's 1985A, 1985B, the Biff timeline, and then there's 2 in between.
Why does Michael Myers have more origin stories than Peter Parker?
So
There have been more Michael Myers than there have been Spider-Man.
they're wiping it clean. It all goes back. 1978 is the only thing that happens. This came out in 2018, which means 40 years have passed since the original murders, and he
Okay.
has not been murdering since then.
He's been institutionalized the entire time.
Oh, I
Entire
thought
4
he
years.
was
Disappeared.
like, I gotta go, man. I gotta clear my head. And
Yeah.
No.
he's been working in a small store
I
out
believe-
in Alaska.
I believe that they
A mask
show him
store.
being arrested
A mask
back in
store.
1978 or something like that. Or
Yeah.
maybe that's in the sequel. But he's been institutionalized. And these 2 podcast hosts who are true crime podcast hosts, stop it. You're on a podcast. People do podcasts. I know we want to wrap this up, but I'd love to have a fight with you and every other person who is a film person who's like,
You put podcast in my movie?
yeah, podcasts exist.
We got movies in your podcast.
Deal with it.
Chocolate and peanut butter.
Deal with it. Podcasts exist in the world so they can exist in movies.
The movie Vengeance, BJ Novak. He
Nice
plays a
podcast.
guy who is starting a podcast about the murder or death that he is now attached to.
Good.
And it fits and it works and it makes sense.
How do you know this doesn't make sense if all you know
I
is
don't know.
that there's
I
a
haven't
podcast?
seen it. I'm
But
just-
you just did your big thing.
Yeah, because usually when podcasting is introduced, it's like, oh boy,
Ah,
you know what I mean?
prejudice, I see.
It's
No,
like
they-
it's
you know,
no, it's like
it's-
when people used to do blogs all the time in movies. Now
Yeah.
it's a podcast.
I'll say because you want these people to present exposition, and so as they're talking
Yeah,
to each
yeah.
other in the podcast, They're like, oh, these events happened in Haddonfield. It was brutal murders, you know, all 40 years ago. And they say that, you know, like he was in a mask, and they have gotten his mask, his original mask, from the evidence locker in Haddonfield or whatever county, and they confront him with it. But like he's in a like maximum security. Like if there's a square the size of the rug that we're on, and they're like, don't step over the boundary, because he will likely attack you.
And he's facing away from them when they hold the mask up to him to show him, and the scene is fucking awesome.
It's intense, and
It's
like
amazing.
all the other inmates, like
They're freaking
are freaking out. Like, you know,
It's
like
killer.
Oh, it's so well done.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, they're podcast hosts. They could be documentary filmmakers. They could be whatever. It
reporters,
doesn't
yeah.
really matter. What happens is they're used as a vehicle to get the mask to him, to talk to Laurie Strode for a second, and they kind of acknowledge the other movies a little bit by saying like someone says, wasn't Laurie Strode Michael Myers' sister? And someone says like, no, that was just a myth about what happened. And so they kind of write all of that off. You know what I mean? Because it didn't
All
happen.
right.
So the podcast hosts stop at some bathroom. I don't remember. How does Michael Myers escape?
I don't. He kills someone.
I just watched these movies.
That's so out of character.
There's just so much similarities.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's this great scene where these podcast hosts go to this bathroom at like a truck stop. I don't remember exactly.
Oh, as Michael is being transferred, a bus crashes and parents begin wandering on the road. A father and son stop to see what's going on.
Oh my God.
And the father's like, "Stay here, son. I'll get out." And you know, he's like, "Hey, can I help you?" And the son's like, "Dad, where'd you go?" He, 10 or 12 years old or whatever. And then, he's not safe. Michael kills him. Kind of this, like, in the original, like, Michael would, like, confront little kids trick-or-treating and not kill them.
Yeah.
And this one, this kid is brutally murdered.
Yeah.
Kind of saying, hey, you're like, nobody's safe.
Yeah. So he goes to this bathroom in his truck stop where there's the podcast host, and man, like,
Yeah, the woman is in
a stall.
in a stall doing her thing, and Chuck's like, "Yeah, show it." And
hold on. To put this into context, we were at home at my house.
I was making Brad watch it again.
and
I started nudging him. This is my favorite part.
Chuck's laying down under the TV, looking up
Yeah.
at it. I'm like, that's not how.
The only reason he
Like a
actually had
dog.
you over, is so you could slowly pour water over his face while he was watching it.
I like that I have this fetish. He just sees mainstream movies.
Just into it.
So, what's crazy is he's killed her co-host.
Yeah.
This guy.
Well, he kills the gas station attendant, and gets his coveralls, of course.
Of course.
And then she hears the door open, and she's like, "Hello," and it's intense, it's menacing. And then the guy comes in, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And it is brutal. Again, Michael takes his head, smashes it against the wall repeatedly.
But it's like crazy because it's not 1991 anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he reaches over the stall to show the woman like that he's there, and he opens his hand, and all the teeth of the guy fall out, and it's fucking
Wow.
like,
Do you think he picked all the teeth up?
yeah. He was
Yeah.
like, he counted them. 1,000.
Yeah, the producer's cut of that is like there's a long scene of him, and then like one drops, and he's like, "Ah."
Yeah, and
Yeah,
she's
that dumps
screaming and going like, "But who's there?" And he's like, "Hold on."
That's the producer's cut. The director's cut, he has a dustbuster.
Yeah. And he undoes it, and
There's
then
a
shakes it
quarter.
out.
There's a quarter in the teeth.
Yeah.
The Rob Zombie cut, he just sweeps him with a dildo. It's weird. It's really strange.
Oh man.
So anyway, he gets out. He's going back after Laurie. She knows that it's been, many, many years. And for some reason, she thinks he's going to come back. And essentially, and what's great about this movie is her family is like, you're too crazy about this. You're obsessed with this.
Yeah.
We don't want this to be our life.
Oh, that's fun.
But they redo the 1978 shots. You know how like Michael Myers is like famously outside the school?
Yeah.
It's Laurie trying to see her granddaughter.
Oh,
But it's fucking awesome.
That's very nice. I like that.
It's really
Yeah.
well done. And it's great because Michael Myers comes back. His mask is awesome. It's the scariest version of Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
The kills are great. I feel bad. We're at best video so late, so that's why I'm going through this quickly.
Yep.
Laurie is obsessed. She lives in this compound with all these weapons and all this stuff set up. It's great because it's Halloween. This is such a good little touch. And her family is all the daughter is wearing Christmas sweater.
Judy Greer
subtly
plays her
showing
daughter.
you she doesn't want to acknowledge Halloween,
Yeah,
and she wants
yeah.
to get past it.
Yeah.
But here's what's
That's
great.
fun.
So Laurie is ultimately right. Michael Myers is back. And what happens quickly is he has a different psychiatrist because Donald Pleasance is dead, whatever. And this psychiatrist is like obsessed with him. And it's similar to Donald Pleasance. But at one point, the police basically hit him with a car and the policeman goes to kill him.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers. And the therapist stops him from killing him because he loves Michael Myers and he's obsessed with him. And when Michael Myers is knocked out on the ground, he takes the mask and he puts it on himself. And then Michael Myers stands up and kills him.
Yeah, he like stabs Sheriff Brackett in the throat.
Yeah.
And then, Michael Myers,
The doctor.
the doctor.
The therapist.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so Michael Myers has Laurie's address, which is, again, a compound, and she's got shotguns, and she's got rifles, and she's got a crossbow.
Yes. And one of the things that's awesome in this is he carves one of the policeman's face up like a jack-o'-lantern with the flashlight in it. And it's very, very disturbing, very scary. He goes after Laurie's granddaughter, which is what was we were
Allison,
scared of. And my favorite part of the movie is the conclusion of the movie, where they're all in the compound. There's a lot of scary stuff that happens. Like I said, I'm sorry we're going fast, but we're trying to get out of here.
Yeah.
And
the house is set up like as
like a trap.
as a trap. So like
Yeah,
she'll
it's
go
a
into
Home
a room.
Alone style.
Yeah, she'll go into a room
Yeah.
exactly the same as Home Alone. No, she goes into a room with a shotgun. She clears it, and then she presses a button, and like metal bars come down.
every single room she has like a jail cell.
I like this.
And so she's clearing the house and she's
Yeah.
going after him. So it is like H2O where you're like, well, I like the idea where she's going after him.
Right.
This is that as the full movie.
Yeah.
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 So-
She's in the basement, which is like the kitchen has like the island swings open, and there's a stairwell down to
To like
her
a bunker
arsenal.
with
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
the guns.
yeah.
So it's great because the mom, who is Laurie's daughter, who is like, I don't want to be part of this.
Judy Greer.
She's like, you've been training me my whole life. You've pushed me away. She is forced to go there because the granddaughter's been captured. She's
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
whatever. And Michael Myers is coming around a corner. Laurie is taken out. Everyone's like kind of taken out. And the only person left to protect them is Judy Greer, the daughter. And she has the gun. And Michael Myers is coming. She's like, I can't do this. She's like, I can't do this. And she's freaking out. And Michael Myers comes around the corner and she breaks out of it and she goes, got him. And she shoots him in the face. It's fucking awesome.
That's nice.
It's so good.
And they knock him down the stairs, and Laurie Strode has flipped a switch, and you see like gas.
And the bars come across and
Yeah.
it's locked down there.
There, gas is coming out of everything, and like there's little spark igniters next to all of them, and the house just goes up in flames.
Fucking
And it's
awesome.
slow motion, super well shot, super
Awesome.
well done.
And they're getting away, and that's the end of this movie. And you're like, it was so great. It was so much fun seeing it in theaters.
Yeah.
It was like you could not have predicted all the different things they did.
Yeah, yeah.
But they played with the history of the movie series in a way that you would never expect.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's fun.
However, post credits, they showed like the fire, and then you hear Michael Myers breathing.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is the final movie.
Was it
We're in the
like a
home
Vader?
stretch.
I'll say this: 17 kills, which brings us up to
145.
145.
Why didn't you just keep the letters out? That's what I would have done. Michael Myers, I guess he's not dead. I would love to give each of these movies a little bit more, but I know we joke, we
yeah.
talk, we're talkers, we talk, we're
But that's what we were supposed
We're
to do. right? Isn't
podcasters.
that the job?
yes, it is. No, you're totally.
Isn't that
It's
why
tough.
you have me here?
No, it's tough. It's one of those things where it's like we like to goof, we like to joke. That's the heart of what we do.
Thumbs up.
Up, way up.
Yeah.
Oh,
Halloween
very nice.
2018.
Yeah.
Now here's the final movie, Halloween Kills.
Kills.
Before next week's Halloween ends.
Which is the actual final movie.
Trailers
Maybe.
come out. Trailers look awesome. Laurie, her daughter, and her granddaughter are in the back of a pickup truck, right? And they're
I saw the
driving
trailer.
away.
Yes. Yeah.
And you see the fire trucks going, and Laurie
Mm-hmm.
goes, no. And I'm like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, that opens up, they go to get him. Michael Myers gets out. He's killing all the firefighters with like the cutters and the axe. That part is great. But essentially, what this movie turns into is a lot of logical flaws, starting with it's Halloween 40 years after the first
Yeah.
murders.
Yeah.
And they're having an open mic night at a bar where everyone's like talking about their feelings about Halloween and
Yeah,
what originally
yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
it's
So Tommy Doyle
Tommy
is going
Doyle's
on?
there, but he's played by Anthony Michael Hall, maybe?
I don't know if it's
Yeah.
him, but yeah, someone. But there's a couple people. The nurse from the original one is there.
Nurse
Marion.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
I heard some stuff about this one.
Yeah.
and nothing I heard was like, Ooh, I want to see that. You know,
like the actress who played Lindsay Wallace in the original one. So like, Tommy Doyle's counterpart, the child being babysat, she's back. There's a couple that was introduced briefly in Halloween 2018, and they're at this bar, this open mic night. But really, Anthony Michael Hall gets up and delivers this speech about like how Michael Myers is the boogeyman, and it's so weird and out of place.
This is the biggest example of these characters are not supposed to exist in a world where all these other movies happened.
Yeah.
But they are acting like all these things did happen because their body count is not 145. Their body count is like
Six.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
40 years previous. And they're talking about a guy who's like 62, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Whatever. So what happens is they decide to form a mob, which I think is actually a fine, like the idea of doing a Halloween movie where it's like a mob is going to find him and kill him, and that's the A story. I think that's a good place to start for a Halloween movie because we haven't seen something where that's the focus. That happened in one of the movies. It's kind of a small B story, but that's cool. But what happens is they show him on the news. You don't get to see his face, but he's on the news.
Yeah.
It's bokeh, it's in the background, it's out of focus, as well as this other very small, long, stringy-haired guy that gets out as well.
Yeah, like this asylum bus has crashed.
Yeah, so there's another
Prisoners
guy
have
that got
escaped.
out.
There's two that are unaccounted for.
Yeah.
Michael Myers and
Whoever.
Jimothy Jimbo.
Yeah, Jimothy Jimbo.
Oh God.
So they're Michael Myers.
His was all sex stuff though.
Yeah.
but like fun
yeah,
stuff.
No.
fun.
funny
Oh no.
Well,
me.
with consent.
Jimothy
it's funny.
Jimbo?
Yeah.
So what happens is
The sex killer of South Dakota.
most of what happens
he killed
is
sex is what he did.
Lori
He
goes to
did
the
for a
hospital.
whole town.
Yeah.
Lori goes to the hospital.
Yep.
And she's honestly like talking to people at the hospital for the vast majority of this movie.
Yeah.
Which is fine, whatever. If she took a back seat and that's totally fine with me. The mob is going after him. They're going crazy. There are some cool things, like I don't know if you saw in the trailer, he killed like 3 kids, and it's the 3 masks from Halloween 3
Oh,
on
that's
the
fun.
kids
Yeah.
on the merry-go-round,
Sure.
whatever. That's cool. But they're going after him. What eventually happens is they kill the other guy that got out by accident because
Yeah.
he looks like
the mob chases him and he freaks out, and Judy Greer is like, look, I know you're not Michael Myers, stay in here, and she like basically locks both ends of a corridor in the hospital.
Yes.
And the mob
Breaks through.
and she's trying, Judy Greer is like, it's not Michael, and Anthony Michael Hall is trying to read her lips, and she's like, it's not Michael, no, and he's like, it's not Michael, but it's slow motion but not like well done.
But he's also an insane killer.
Right,
no,
well,
he's not a killer. He's just
he-
in a mental institution. And
Oh, okay.
He looks completely different than Michael Myers.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
He has long string hair. And they basically kind of pressure this guy and he jumps off the building and he kills himself. And then it's immediately revealed that this mob kind of forced this guy to kill himself.
Yeah.
And like, if you do look at it as a message, it's kind of that like mob justice is bad, I guess.
Yeah.
The true monster is
I don't know if this came out after.
Society.
Well, I don't know if this came out after like Capitol riots. I don't know if that's part of it or they shot it before that.
I think they
Oh,
shot.
I
it
don't think
before.
the Capitol riots are necessarily like the trigger point of discussing
mob justice.
mob rule.
Yeah.
I think 2016 is probably when that started to get discussed.
So-
No joke.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But so it's really weird because it's like it's just illogical. Like why did they show that the main guy in this mob
Yeah, yeah.
did see him? It just all of that fell
Yeah,
apart.
that's weird.
So what happens is, and the conclusion of this movie I think is worse. They basically have a woman, I think it might be the nurse, go into this park walking by herself, and Michael Myers sees her and he goes to kill her, and she runs out into this street.
No,
and
it's so Michael Myers is menacing the granddaughter
Yeah.
and the boyfriend who had cheated on her. Didn't get his comeuppance in the first one, got his comeuppance in this one, head smashed against a banister, and he's like laying there kind of half over the stairwell, and Michael Myers just twists his head 180 degrees. And so the granddaughter has like a broken leg. She's fallen down the stairs. Judy Greer shows up. She's like, stay away from my granddaughter. And she's like, come on, you jerk. And she like, shambles away, goes a street over, and
she was basically being
she was bait.
She was bait. She gets him into the middle of the street.
Car lights
all, and the whole mob surrounds him. Great moment.
So now mob justice is good.
Well, here's the thing. Wait. So he's a 60-ish year old man.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
This mob of 3 dozen people surround him with guns, bats. All of it is shot in slow motion.
Not enough guns.
And it's way close up. and he basically kills his way out of it.
Yeah, they all knock him
Okay.
down, and
It's
Judy Greer walks away, and they're like, "I did it," and then they're like, "Whew, we did it," and then he basically does the Undertaker sit up from wrestling,
Yeah.
and like Anthony Michael Hall swings at him, and he grabs the bat and like breaks it and kills him, and kills this guy, and kills that guy, and
So
kills
he
that
just
guy, and kills
becomes
that guy, and kills-
Jason.
Well, it's not even that, because Jason at least is supposed to be like a supernatural thing.
That's what I mean, yeah.
This is all so much more realistic.
Right.
So much so that the director couldn't even really shoot it well. He had
Yeah.
to show everything in close up, because
Yeah,
if you
because it
showed
wouldn't make
it
sense,
from
because
anything
you'd
back,
see 40 other
you'd
people
see 12
standing
people just
waiting.
standing and waiting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, that's infuriating.
It was
And it's also like
infuriating.
it's like
It was
don't
so- it was
just
it,
don't
it
go
really,
there.
Really knocked the wrench out of my head. I'll
I
tell you that.
know, right?
It's direct.
Yeah, you just don't. You don't do that. You just don't have a huge group scene like that
Like if
where
the-
he's going to get away.
if Halloween Ends, the next movie that's coming out, did end with everybody that's been affected by him
Showing up?
cornering him,
Hell yeah.
and taking him out for
Yeah.
good, that's a cool direction.
Or doing an intervention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael,
Why?
your actions have
Yes.
affected me in the following way.
So I was very
When you
disappointed.
cut my father's head off
Yes.
at a laundromat 4 Halloweens ago, that really hurt. That hurt my feelings.
laundromat.
That messed my family up in a big way.
What's hard for me
and
is,
it was
like-
hard when my mother found the head in the dryer. Not only did you take our father, but you took a lot of our clothes as well, because we didn't want to wear any of those clothes.
What's hard for me is like Halloween 2018 was so satisfying and so well done, and to see it followed up with something so illogical. Like at some point, look up the scene online at the end of Halloween Kills to be
That's-
like,
that sounds infuriating.
it was
to me.
infuriating. We were watching it
Yeah.
because we were like, oh man, I bet it's good. I bet it's good because the first one was really good. And I was so bummed.
It sounds like this really was a spiritual reboot to this whole thing, because the first one is great. And then the rest just get worse and worse
Well,
and
here's
worse.
the thing. So, Michael Myers kills his way out of this thing, and Judy Greer is standing up in the window of the Myers house, like, wow, we sure have been through some crazy times, huh? And then, like, of course, Michael Myers shows up and brutally murders her, stabs her, close-ups, and it's quick cuts, and it's really... So now the living Strodes are Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Allison, the granddaughter.
Yeah.
And that's it. Judy Greer is dead.
Yeah.
So that's how the movie ends. And I mean, it's not like the movie is poorly shot. It's definitely
Sure.
well shot. And there's a lot of fun moments, but it's it's almost worse when there's a lot of fun, good stuff in a movie and ultimately it's not good.
Yeah,
Because at least if it was bad all the way through, you could just be like, well, it's not a good movie. But you're like,
Yeah.
man, this was almost good. So let's do the final kill count.
27 more kills, bringing us to a total of 172, according to Screen Rant. Now, Michael did not die in this film, so our deaths
Remain at
stay
5.
at 5.
Now, how many nutsack shocks did he get?
All
in
right,
this
let me
movie?
think here. Well, what about the one in the barn? Does that count as a nutsack?
No, that was his testicle.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if it was testicles or taint. We stay at 1. One nutsack.
One nutsack shock.
Yeah.
So for the final tally for Halloween 1978 through Halloween Kills is 172 kills, 5 deaths, and 1 shock to the nutsack delivered by Lieutenant Buster Rhymes. Lieutenant General Buster Rhymes. And yeah, I mean, overall, I will say this about the series. I love watching almost any of them. I love sitting down and having a fun night. We watched Halloween 5 together.
I'll say watching Halloween 4 with Chuck
Yeah.
was fun.
Wicked fun.
Because we could comment on the absurdity of what we were watching.
Yeah.
Watching the rest of them by myself was hell. I was like, oh, I hope Michael Myers shows up and stabs me so I don't have to watch the rest of this movie.
We could have had a festive purple background.
I asked Brad which one he preferred.
I went with black, basic.
You
So-
are basic.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
now, here's the thing. Now, our viewers and listeners and Ray, now we can all go see Halloween Ends with the right information, an accurate story, beat for beat. We got every moment.
we're
right.
on timeline 5. We know that.
We know we're in the 5th timeline.
And then the first person that dies, you can go 173 in the theater, right?
Please stand up. And I would like to say this. I'm going to make a bold prediction.
And then like, 2.
Ooh, wow, 2.
Section.
Damn.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. Halloween Kills
Yeah.
will be a thumbs up from all three of us. I mean, Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
Then when they reboot it, I think the 6th Halloween continuity will be the best of them all.
It's going to start like when we leave Best Video Tonight.
You know what I'd
and
love?
it's going to be Michael Myers was a video store employee. And people said we're going to podcast.
Yeah.
We're only going to be there until 11 p.m. and it is 12:52 a.m.
And the only way to stop him this time is to go inside the web.
I'll say this.
He's not in this website.
I ordered mashed potato pizza on accident.
He's not in this website.
I'll say this. The reason, I'm going to be honest. The reason I pitched this, the reason I had this place hunted down, I just wanted you guys to try that mashed potato pizza. I've liked it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I thought if I could get you up here,
We tried it.
then maybe.
I can't believe that we drove 2 hours.
2 hours each way.
We spent a couple hours setting this up, you and I, while Brad was coming down. I reached out, I hunted down the joint, I got it all squared away, making sure Teo's taking care of all these things.
I stole a Kit Kat.
So you could
grape
tell
soda.
me for hours about something I lost interest in after the second or third movie.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It feels like a rude trick.
Yes.
You
Well-
have used my my goodwill towards you, my trust.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's his the
You've
season.
used it. You've cashed in some of my trust. You're like, I really want to do this. I want to do the whole thing. I want to have franchise flashback. We'll do it. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
We'll do Halloween. I'm
Yeah.
like, that sounds about right. I love Halloween, so let's
Yes.
do this. And it's like, by the way, there's 400 different movies. There's 50 different timelines. Most of the movies are terrible, and we agree on that, even though I, Chuck Staten, refuse to admit it. And we're going to keep you so goddamn late after a weekend of you doing shows all weekend. We're going to make you come down to Connecticut, honey, and you're going to do it.
I'm going to make you wear a little bracelet.
I'm going to make you wear a little pair of scissors on your head.
But there is one thing I wanted to say to you guys. Happy Halloween, motherfuckers.
All right, I'm going to shock you, but it's going to be a surprise where that shock gets you.
I do want to thank anyone that is still watching this. We appreciate you. You're the true funnest of bears that we have. Put your little legs down. You can find us on social media to wish us well after all of this terror and horror at Funbearable Pod on all social media. Funbearable Pod at gmail.com. And please reach out to us because we'd really, really appreciate it. Happy Halloween.
Thank you to Best Video. We're sorry.
I'm so sorry I had to do it. I'm so sorry.